Spooky Tuesday.
Looks like a no-brainer.
What does that mean?
No brain. Scoop clean out of her skull.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Death.
And this week we continue with B-cember. Don't you feel like don't you feel like we're newscasters right now?
I feel like we're coming to you live from Monica's studio.
From Monica's studio
B-cember.
here in Silver Lake, California.
It's not our first time recording together in person, but it sort of feels like it because we're like on home turf. You know what I mean?
This is what it would be like every time if Sydney lived in Los Angeles still.
I don't like
I have
this.
to come over here every time. Oh my god, exhausting. Such a drive.
Well, then it's fun. It's like we're hanging out actually in person instead of
footsie. Would I ever get to sit in the middle, or would it always be sitting in the middle?
I mean, we
You
could
sit
rotate.
in the middle. You
Okay.
sat in the middle one of the other times that. Oh no, that was me.
No, she was technically in the middle last
Yeah, I was
time.
basically in the middle last time.
Yeah.
But I just mean if we were in here every day, like, these are our assigned seats?
No, we have to mix it up to visually stimulate.
To visually stimulate.
I love
Are you visually
stimulating.
stimulated?
I know what-
But anyway, back to the task at hand.
Okay.
We're recording in person. That's why you can feel our vivacious spirit flying through the camera and the audio waves. Also, I engineered this recording.
She's
She
an
did.
engineer.
She's an
So
engineer.
if it sounds really bad, no, I didn't.
If it sounds really good, though, yes, she did.
If it sounds really good,
Slay.
yeah, I did it.
It's a slay
I did
for
that.
Monica.
Slay.
I spent all day yesterday trying to figure this out. Anyway,
And she nailed it. Maybe. Probably.
maybe. I
We
think
hope.
so.
We'll find out
Seems
later.
like it from here.
The levels look okay.
The levels look so great because usually they don't when we record in person because Chelsea doesn't know how to talk into a mic.
Well, yours,
Which is
like,
crazy 'cause
Yours
I'm
is
such a
still
natural.
smaller. I don't know.
I know, and I feel like I talk so loud all the time.
I don't know, maybe because you got to hold it like that,
Hold it like
directly
this
to your
all the
mouth,
time?
like that.
Jesse,
So
you've got to
loud.
hold it like
Oh my
you got
God,
to
I'm
double.
Not down
I'm
like
not
this,
an
like this.
expert like you guys. I'm used to being on the news.
I know,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why I take
Not the
direction.
radio. Oh my god.
But anyway, okay, it's B-cember. It's
B-cember.
B-cember. We established this. We're doing B movies. We're learning what that means. And this week, we're doing something I've been trying to get us to do for 1,000 years.
She has.
And technically speaking, I guess only one of these movies is a B movie because the B movie is the movie that plays second in the double feature. And this is a double feature. But they really
Planet Terror
both have
canceled.
that low level quality kind of vibe that a B movie holds dear.
Yeah,
They do.
So I think that it works. And it's also a very cool thing that, what else did what Grindhouse did? Except for original Grindhouse movies.
Except for who could do what Grindhouse did except for the
Grindhouse
original
was parodying.
Grindhouse?
Yeah.
I know, but it's very exciting because they worked very hard to create 3 hours and 11 minutes of like kind of bad movies that I really like a lot. But anyway, we're doing Grindhouse. So if you don't know what that means, Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino teamed up in 2007.
Yeah.
And they created an ode to a type of film called the Grindhouse genre. It's exploitation films. And they realized very quickly after the release that no one fucking cares no one gives a shit about these types of movies. I've like read this interview with Quentin and he was like, yeah, I really thought people would be into this, but it went right over their heads. They had no fucking clue what we were trying to do with these movies. They showed up to the theater and they're like,
Why
does it look all weird? Why is part of it missing? Why are there trailers in the middle of it? Why is it so stupid and melodramatic? They did not get it at all.
And also a lot of people left after the first movie in theaters because audiences were no longer used to the double screening like as an issue, and so they were just like, okay, movie's done, bye, see you later, next
Movie
time.
over. They wouldn't do that now. We have been conditioned to stay post
You gotta stay for
credits
the
at this
post-credit
point.
scene. No, but also they really had to put like attendance at the theater exits to be like, the movie's not over.
Please,
if you
please
wanna
go back
see
to
the
your
rest,
seat.
It's really
if you want to see
actually
the rest, there's more.
not over yet. And if you could just stay for a second, that would be really
No
cool.
big deal. If it's an issue, I mean, you can leave. We're not holding you hostage.
Actually,
but
we're
if you
holding you
wanted
hostage.
your
You are
money's
never
worth.
allowed to leave.
Well, I mean, also after Planet Terror, like we were talking about this last night. So there's 2 movies, right? There's Planet Terror, that's the Robert Rodriguez one, and then there is Death Proof, which is Quentin Tarantino's movie. And like we were talking about how maybe that's not the best order for them to go to.
I kind of changed my mind, I think.
Well, okay, yeah. Honestly, watching Death Proof again, because we watched this all together with our friend Simon last night, and we were chittity-chatting. And Death Proof isn't really a movie you can like talk through, because otherwise you.
Oh my
like,
god, because it's all dialogue.
it's literally all dialogue. So I was like,
We
oh,
should have
nothing
known better.
really
It's a
happened.
Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh yeah, totally. The long, never-ending
I don't know
scene.
that I have to look at his IMDb. I don't know that I've ever seen a Quentin Tarantino movie before. I just bag on Quentin Tarantino for fun.
Are you serious? You never seen
I'm-
Kill Bill?
No,
Fiction?
and everybody always yells at me
I've
for
never
that because
seen-
Lucy was my wife.
I've never
Really?
seen Pulp Fiction.
Okay, we should do a Pulp Fiction night.
I'm down. I'm
I
down.
just always assumed I wouldn't like them, and now that I'm seeing this,
Oh.
I'm like, well, but that was fun.
No, I think that you would. There's like icky stuff in like almost all of them.
I know you're
but
always
then
like, I love Quentin Tarantino, and I was like, blah, but maybe I'm wrong.
there's some good stuff in there. There's
I've been-
some good stuff in there.
I've
And he
been known to
saved
be
the
wrong.
Vista Theater, which is by my house.
And I saved the Vista.
I'm excited about that. Anyway, but okay, so the thing that people didn't get was what Grindhouse was. And I didn't totally know what Grindhouse was either, but I surely loved the vibes. And I figured
Did you
they
do-
were schlocky fucking movies and they played in a grimy, nasty theater. And yeah, that's pretty much kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But basically, like, Grindhouse theater would be this certain type of theater that played movies like back to back all the time, like 24 hours a day.
Oh,
And
the
they're
dream.
really big in the
Whoa.
70s and into the 80s. And then they were pretty much all died out by the time the 90s came around.
Boo.
Yeah, and
Tomato, tomato, tomato.
I know. And they would play these
They heard Sydney
movies.
was coming. They said, we gotta go.
Oh my God. Seriously, we would have so much fun.
We would have so much fun.
It's like all the stuff, like whenever we want to go to like the Cinespia double feature slumber party,
Mhm.
it's like that,
I
except
love
it
the
was
slumber
all
the
the
time.
time.
Yeah. But it's it's specifically focused on playing these schlocky exploitation films. So I didn't really totally know what an exploitation film
That was my question.
either. And so I have to find it in my notes so I don't say it wrong. Okay. So an exploitation film is a type of film that is promoted by exploiting often lurid subject matter. The term exploitation is common in filmmaking, used for all types of films to mean promotion or advertising. So I didn't understand that. I thought an exploitation film was like, I don't know, like women were being sold on the street in the movie or something like that.
during the movie, you
Yo,
could
I
get a
don't know.
hand job.
I thought it was really bad because there's like blaxploitation, mexploitation,
Yeah.
all these different things, and I thought it was like a bad thing, but it's like they're selling it based on whatever that point is at the beginning. So a sexploitation movie is they're marketing it as like boobies, like crazy sex shit
One more
going on. No,
Yeah.
that was one time. You can rewind it. But like that's how they would sell it. They'd be like sex sells, whatever. Blaxploitation, they'd be like, this is about like black people and black stories and this sort of a thing. Nexploitation is are you trying to put it back?
I got you, queen.
Nexploitation excuse me. An example of that is Machete,
Okay.
the trailer that starts off this whole Grindhouse thing. That's one of those. It's like focusing on how they're Mexican people, and that's part of the like what they're marketing it as. So that's what an exploitation film is. I thought it was something completely different. I had no idea.
Yeah, I kind of thought they were all sexy, maybe.
I think a lot of them are. And a lot of times they rely, like they exploit like different things, right? So a big star, a lot of the time, special effects, sex, violence, romance. So they're like usually also like poorly put together. They're also
Low
kind of like
budget,
low
or-
budget.
okay.
Yeah, low budget. That's why it like kind of works into the B movie thing, because the B movies are usually a little bit lower budget, even though we did Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is not necessarily that, but it counts.
It counts because we said so.
We said it was,
And
and
so
I'm glad
does
we
the
watched
internet.
it. Mhm.
Yeah.
But here's another thing that it said, like, final. Okay, what does it say here? It says, a Grindhouse movie can be a little bit nebulous. So this is back to Grindhouse. It's usually an exploitation movie, but back to what actually is a Grindhouse movie. You have to see if it has one or a combination of the 3 Gs.
The 3 Gs.
Gore, grime, and genitalia. If you answered yes to all, then it's probably a Grindhouse film.
I love that.
I really like that.
Okay, tag yourself. Are you Gore, grime, or genitalia?
I guess I'll go with Grime. You guys can fight over the other two.
You're genitalia.
I'm obviously Gore, Monica. Listen, one of us has a party tit, and it's not me.
Okay, you can't bring that up. Also, God fucking damn it. Also, you're the one who wouldn't shut the fuck up about the 4-foot dick of the fucking Gill man last
I just
episode.
brought it up. Y'all just talked about it.
That's true.
Well, there
We
was
did
so
really
much to discuss.
We really did dive deep. We really did dive deep.
There were a lot of logistics to ponder.
There really were.
I'm
There
still
was a
thinking
lot
about it.
to think about. I'm thinking about it now.
I'll probably always a little bit be thinking about it.
Yeah. But anyway, like with that in mind, like it kind of made me appreciate like watching these movies even more because they really like committed to like the authenticity of these Grindhouse movies.
There was a fair amount of genitalia specifically in one of these films, at least.
Definitely. And gratuitous gore. So a lot of gore. And everyone was rather dirty and grimy. So
true. And then
liked
the film itself was dirty and grimy because they hired someone specifically to go through the film and grime it up. They didn't.
Really?
They didn't do it digitally. They literally got the film
hand
out.
grimed?
Yeah, and they hand grimed
filmed,
it.
This is a film. They filmed it on film.
This is a film
This is a film that was filmed on film.
Film.
You heard it here first. This is a film that was filmed on film.
On film.
They aren't all filmed on film. It's special sometimes.
No, and it really shows. And like they even did. So another thing was these theaters were pieces of shit, you know, because they were running these movies over and over and over again all the time, and so they would get damaged. The films would get damaged. They would lose some because they were like, you know, not. It's like. That's not a perfect system. They lose some of the reels.
Things get lost sometimes.
Things get lost sometimes. So they do that very tongue in cheek in the Grindhouse movie too. And so
I love that.
Yeah,
we don't get to see.
It was
sex
interesting
scene.
reading IMDb. They said usually like the film bubbling thing really only happens at the end of the reels most of the time when it's like the most stressed part of the film.
That makes sense.
Which to me, I didn't understand why that would be only at the end of the movie though, not throughout the movie sometimes
isn't
because
it on
multiple reels.
separate reels?
But I don't know how big a reel is a lot of the time. But these movies clearly are like on different reels because reels can go missing, and that was really fun. That was a fun aspect of it, and that was fun because the sort of implications of a projectionist taking it home is what I saw online. Somebody with sticky fingers taking the sexy parts of the movies. I mean,
that's so funny.
Wow,
I love that. I didn't think about that at all.
Why those ones? You know, other than obviously those are the scenes that they need to cut for ratings sometimes. But the Death Proof one does exist, maybe not in full, but you can find that on the DVD extras allegedly. The Robert Rodriguez Planet Terror one never filmed, but there was a Vulture article that said it was, but then everything else I found online said no, it wasn't.
Actually,
so we'll never know.
Wasn't.
Who's
to say?
Robert Rodriguez,
answer for your crimes.
Come over here.
Okay, well, he might have to.
Right
There's
here.
a part of this that we'll have to discuss. Both of these directors have some questionable issues revolving around this film too, but I don't want to talk about it yet. Let's keep the good vibes going and we'll get there.
Okay.
But anyway, the other part of this was the trailers, and that's I think one of the most fun parts about this movie. So it starts out with the one for Machete or Machete, however you want to say it, and it is absolutely a bangerang. And now I'm forgetting his name. What's his name? What's the guy?
Danny Trejo.
Thank you, God. It's
Trejo's Tacos?
Oh, I know. I've been to Trejo's house.
Donuts.
I went to a radio event with Chewy Martinez.
Love.
And it was like for the premiere, and he was there, and I was like, there he is.
There
I think he's hot.
Yeah, he is.
Beautiful
Danny
man
Trejo's
in
hot.
the world.
He is. He's the most interesting man in
Could
the
he
world.
be any cuter?
Have Have you seen that one yet, Monica?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
We'll show you later.
Beautiful girl.
They keep me up to date on TikToks that I don't understand.
This is like an old school one from our childhood that's like making its way back.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so we were talking about this a little bit last night when we watched it, but Sydney, I think it was you, brought up a very important...
No, I think it was me.
It was you?
Oh.
Chelsea, I'm so sorry.
I don't know what it is.
If
Well,
it's what I think it is.
The Spy Kids
Yes.
connection.
Ah,
That was me.
That's
Sydney was
Chelsea.
editing. She wasn't even paying attention.
I was not.
Sorry, babe.
His name in Spy Kids, Danny Trejo, is Uncle Machete. And so I was like, Spy Kids for sure came out before Grindhouse or Machete the movie. So like,
Because Machete, the
what's
movie,
going on?
Came out in 2010.
Yeah, and I put in my notes immediately, like, must research. And the research was really easy and simple and straightforward because as soon as I Googled it, the first line of the article that I found on CBR is, for a lot of young kids in the 2000s, Robert Rodriguez's Spy Kids trilogy. So Robert Rodriguez did Spy Kids. So that's where they're all Robert Rodriguez movies. So that's the connection.
Oh,
I love
my
this.
God.
Yeah, and the article
This is
basically,
why I love him
yeah.
so much.
This is incredible.
Also, all of last night, we were like, "Oh my God, yeah!" And this is like Sin City and blah 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 blah. Guess who did Sin City?
Is it also Robert
It was
Rodriguez?
Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, I mean, the article said that it is basically like a joke with himself, that he was referencing his own as of yet unmade Machete script when he wrote Uncle Machete into Spy Kids. I don't know if they were talking about Grindhouse and the Machete trailer, or if he already had the Machete script before Grindhouse even came together.
Mhm.
But apparently Alexa Vega, Daryl Sabara, and Antonio Banderas, as well as Cheech Marin, have all been in the Machete films. And as we know, they make up part of the Spy Kids family.
Wow.
So,
Yep.
you know, he said it's kind of like an alternate universe thing as opposed to same universe. But
That's
Wrong.
so good. Oh, I love it. That's so brilliant. That's the okay. Well,
yeah,
I feel
first
dumb.
sentence in, I was like, well, there you go.
It's like, wow, we've really uncovered something here. Well, a quick
did
Google
we?
search
Yeah.
will show you. But yeah, I mean, so that's the other thing. So they're all of the trailers in this movie at the time when they came out, none of them were real movies. They had like fun directors that were homies with Robert Rodriguez and homies with Quentin Tarantino make up whatever the fuck they wanted for these trailers. And now, what? It's been like 15 years. I'm not going to do the math. How many?
Whatever
years?
the math
16
is.
years?
Hold on.
16 years.
16 years. I did the math. That was pretty easy math, actually. It's been
Slay.
16 years. Slay
Academica
math.
slay.
Math.
Audio
Academica.
engineer, and I am worried
She's
that
a
we're
woman in
talking too
STEM.
loud, though. So we'll see.
I can fix that.
Okay, great. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, all of them weren't movies that were ever going to be made, but everybody got so excited about some of these ideas that they came up with that two of them have now been turned into feature films.
Which is crazy because, as you mentioned, this movie was kind of a flop, and
It was a huge
really
flop.
didn't. There was a sequel planned if it did well, which was going to be two of the trailers from this
Oh,
movie
really?
made into
Yeah.
feature length
Oh,
films.
that's so fun.
And be like the next double feature.
Yeah.
But
One
it didn't do
did-
well enough.
But one did get made.
Yeah, a couple of them.
Well-
no, of the double feature.
Of the double feature.
Yeah, because only 3 years later, Machete came out.
Mhm.
That was the
So-
first one. Thanksgiving just recently, literally like last month,
Just
came out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why we
And then
did this one.
The other one that was going to be the double feature is Werewolf Women of the SS.
That was gonna be made.
Yep.
That was. I want it to be made. Is
Yep.
that problematic? I
because
want
Rob
it to be made. It
Zombie-
looks insane. I've never watched a Rob Zombie movie.
I love Rob Zombie's music and I love his movies.
Never
And
seen
he is one of the nicest people ever. He's vegan.
Oh, he's vegan.
Yeah.
it. Say no more. No,
Ran
okay.
into him
You
at a
can
vegan
say
restaurant one time. and
You can
he was
say
so
more.
nice.
Well, there is actually a secret additional movie that was made in reality from one of these trailers.
Oh,
The trailer, however, is not in the US cut of Grindhouse. It was only, I think, in like the Canadian cut.
Boo,
Um,
Canada.
And it was called Hobo with a Shotgun.
I've heard about Hobo with the Shotgun.
Yeah, and it's not clear to me, and I didn't research any further exactly what this means, but it was the winner of the South by Southwest Grindhouse fake trailer competition. So I don't know if it got included in this movie because it won the competition or if separately it won. I don't know the details of that.
I literally know. I feel
But
like
it
I've
did
watched
become a
the
full-time,
trailer.
big, full movie. And I'll link the fake trailer and the trailer for what ended up being the real movie later on in our episode notes if you want to check it out.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Yeah, because it's too bad because that would have been so fun if it had come out as like another double feature later on if this had done well. But like literally it only made $25 million. Full stop. It made $25 million.
What was the budget?
I don't know. I didn't look up what the budget
Google.
was. But it that's bad. Like they
67 million.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah.
53 to
Also-
67. Either way, a commercial failure.
Flop.
Oh, it was a big flop. Like that's over the entire course that it was in theaters. So something that was really interesting that I learned through this article is that they released this movie very differently in the UK. They're like, oh, people in the UK, they're not gonna get what the Grindhouse thing was because it was like a US thing mostly. And so they just released Death Proof. I don't even know what
I think they maybe did both in like Europe and stuff like that, but they were separate. It was like Grindhouse, Planet Terror, Grindhouse, Death Proof.
Yeah.
Which is maybe why they're listed separately online on a lot of the like rental services.
More to say about that too. But yeah, so Quentin went out. He was in the UK and he met up with Edgar Wright and they went to go see
Who did
Death
one of the
Proof.
trailers.
Oh, did he do Don't?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And the Don't one's really funny.
I like that one too.
Oh,
That
that
one's
one was
so
a
funny.
great one.
But yeah, they go to the theater on opening night to see Death Proof. They walk into the theater and there is only 13 people in the theater.
That's
at
my lucky number.
8:30.
Though.
You and Taylor Swift at 8:30 p.m. on the opening fucking night. So Edgar Wright apparently was like, honestly, I would have just walked out if that had been the case, but you're brave. We went and we stayed and I liked the movie.
They had I think some bad luck in general because they also did one screening where John Landis was there, Jim Landis, the Twilight Zone director who had the helicopter accident.
Oh.
And then there's the scene in the movie where a helicopter
Copter.
blade is decapitating people and apparently got really uncomfortable in the theater. Which, fair enough.
Valid,
So-
but
I don't know if anybody had that in mind when they invited him, or if they were just like, yes, my friend who does movies. He loves to see movies. This is a movie about movies. He's going to love it.
It's hard to think about every single part and how
there's so many. We're gonna really struggle because there's so many things in this movie and all of Planet Terror, especially. There's a bazillion things.
Oh,
going
There's a
on.
lot of things in Planet Terror.
We can't get to all of them because it's so much, and then we do have to talk about Death Proof. But yeah, no, I mean, it's such a fucking irreverent film too. Of course, it's gonna upset a lot of different people in a lot of different ways.
that's what
so-
makes it fun.
I know, exactly. I love it. I love an exploitation film, I guess. But anyway, okay. We talked about Machete. Let's get into it. Planet Terror.
Planet Terror.
Great name.
Great name.
Great name.
Incredible name.
Incredible opening scene with Rose McGowan doing her go-go dance.
Her little
Oh.
sexy dance.
The way
She-
Monica was trying to say something to me at one point
We're like,
last night when we were watching, and I was just ignoring her because I had to keep my eyes on the screen. It was very serious.
It's very incredibly serious. Also, after this movie, Sydney and I have decided that I'm gonna be Cherry Darling next year for Halloween.
And I'm gonna be Dakota.
And
Chelsea's gonna be Fergie, aka Tammy,
Yep.
aka my lover.
I
oh my god!
yeah.
Sweet.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So it's gonna work out really well. So I'm gonna start changing my entire lifestyle so I can look like Rose McGowan in this film.
We
Starting
gotta get
today.
real fit.
But yeah, she's so unbelievably beautiful and incredible in this movie. So that's just a fucking beautiful thing. And she's just so funny. I love all her little quirks in this movie. I love how she's like, oh, this is like useless skill number 45, 27, 364, whatever the fuck. And then like all of the ones that she calls out throughout the movie like come into play at the end. I loved that. Like she can do a back bend. Well, she does that back bend over the missile at the end.
Which is incredible.
Her balance on the pole makes her a natural with her peg leg.
So before like the movie starts, you see it's like, this is a Weinstein production, blah, 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 blah. And according to IMDb trivia,
it's true.
The most reliable source, though. No, she's going to say something good.
Yeah, this is great. So we all know about Harvey Weinstein, Rose. And we all know about Rose McGowan's like issues with Harvey Weinstein specifically, right?
Yep.
And he basically like blackballed her, banned her, all this kind of stuff. Well, Rose told Robert Rodriguez about it, which is why he cast her in this, because his brother Bob was doing the movie.
He ran in Dimension, which Harvey wasn't really as involved with. And so they could kind of sneak her in.
And Harvey couldn't say no without saying why.
And Bob was none the wiser about any of this, and so they were able to get her
Bob
there.
clearly didn't know anything, obviously didn't know anything about it.
Interesting.
And I have to wonder if that's why they put her in both also, just to be like, double fuck you.
That's so interesting because this article that I read that's like based off of Rose's memoir is like so the opposite. So basically,
well, we all know IMDb trivia does lie sometimes, but that gave me hope when I saw it. But you tell me what she said in her
Bob
own
Weinstein
words.
Apparently, and it, like I'm paraphrasing here.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember all the details, but Rose McGowan and Robert Rodriguez had a romantic situation, and during that time, she was vulnerable with him and shared what Harvey did to her. And so in her memoir, she talks about how Robert Rodriguez played mind games with her by making her do that rape scene with Quentin Tarantino. And that like he did that on purpose. And then the other thing that I read through this was that she was so horrified when they sold this movie to Dimension. And it was like a betrayal. So it's like the opposite of what I read. There's an article. It was from
everybody but Rose McGowan canceled.
A reasonably reputable source. I think it was IndieWire or something like that. So it wasn't like some random ass thing. And it was quoting from her book. But again, like obviously there's two sides of everything, but it was fucking terrible. I was like, fucking Robert Rodriguez, I love you. Why would you be like that? That's horrible. Man. I mean, maybe he didn't think about how
he was like, it's going to be so empowering for her. And I actually know this as a director and as a man. And I don't need to ask her how she feels about it, because I can speak authoritatively on the subject.
I can see how if he had that attitude, he would be like, oh, well, it doesn't actually happen.
This is going to be healing
his dick
for her.
Does melt off. Quentin Tarantino's dick does melt off.
She's gonna love
gross.
that.
Yeah. So
therapy.
Anyway, so that was the dark part that I didn't want to bring up. The other part that brings us back to the beginning of the movie is with Quentin doing some weird shit. So Quentin Tarantino has two roles in this movie. One is the one that I actually noticed, which is literally, it says it on IMDb, rapist number one.
Rapist number one
is his character name. So there's a rapey part. We already discussed that a little bit. His other character he is apparently one of the zombies that attacks Fergie.
Apparently he really bit her.
That's what I'm about to tell you. That's the thing. That's the other bad thing. Quentin Tarantino bit her really, really hard and bruised her because he bit her so hard. And also when they were filming those scenes, they had to like reshoot it over and over and over again because he got really into being a zombie, and he was being like he was making like zombie sounds so loud that it was like ruining the shot, and they had to reshoot it a bunch of times. And I was like,
Quentin,
do you also have a zombie kink, Quentin? Like,
this
what's
is why I
going
don't
on?
With
watch
his
your
foot thing?
movies.
He's got a foot fetish. We don't kink shame here. So,
But it's very obvious.
But it's so obvious. It's just he really lets everyone know, and I'm glad he can let his freak flag fly. That's important.
Yeah, I mean, as we have literally just discussed, IMDb trivia is not always reliable and is certainly vulnerable to influence and bias. But I saw that she got bit on there, and it was like her agent wanted to sue, but then it was like
I have
she
another
told it like
article
a
for
fun
that.
little story. So like, what's the truth? I
Well,
wonder.
there's a video where she's like laughing and she's like, "I'm gonna bite you back" or something. I didn't watch it,
but you
yeah,
know, anything can become a late night anecdote.
yeah. But I mean, Quentin does have a history of being a lot of bit too much with his stars, with his actresses. So I can see that. But he has shown some remorse in the past. So anyway, men do be being terrible, though they are making fun art.
May they all learn.
May they all learn.
May they all learn and grow.
Learn and grow. Anyway, back to Planet Terror and the fun parts of it. I just really want to talk about for a second El Rey. Just because
I love him.
I love him so much. This is really like a bisexual fantasy for me. Only thing that you're getting from this movie is El Rey. But he really does do it for me. I don't know what it is. It's something about that Y2K goatee that's really important to me. I really like it.
I kind of have the hots for the barbecue man.
Oh, yeah. He's got beautiful eyes.
JT.
Yeah. And he knows how to. And also, their whole storyline.
He's the best in Texas.
The brothers' storyline is very moving, actually.
It is.
It's very moving. Because watching it again today, I was listening to the dialogue a little bit closer. And like the brothers, so the cop, the main sheriff cop, and JT are brothers, and they're like fighting, trying to get the secret recipe. The cop's trying to get the secret recipe from him, and he's like, "You'll have it. You won't have the recipe until like even if I'm bleeding out of my guts or something like that." It's literally terrible phrasing. That's not what he says at all. It's much more eloquent.
So close.
It's very close. But anyway, like literally at the end, he is
that's what's happening,
bleeding out his guts, and that's when he gives over the secret formula.
He wouldn't even say the temperature before. He was like, I go by the heat on my hand, I just feel it out. And then at the end he's like, okay, you're right, it's 250 degrees.
And he's like, I knew it.
But yeah, I mean, El Rey, he's really doing it for me. I like his suave melodrama. I love these fucking melodramatic movies like Malignant. It's got the like giallo blood, you know what I mean? Like I love a soap.
Not that we're talking about Death Proof yet, but I was surprised to see when I looked up Zoe Bell to see who she is that the Malignant trailer was like the little video that plays on her IMDb page, and I was like, why is that? She is the 80s lesbian in the prison fight scene in Malignant. That's her.
No way!
Oh my god,
that's her.
I love it so
my god,
much. That's so cool. That's so good. Oh my god.
Back to Planet Terror.
Back to Planet Terror.
I like this movie a lot. There's like a lot of weird little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
They do a lot of referencing their own movie. This is very clearly just like
a fun
art house friends making more art together.
They're having a blast.
Which, you know,
this
maybe
is an
that's
art
why
house
it's not
party,
commercially
okay?
successful because is a
Too
little
many
in-jokey. Yeah.
But as someone who researched all of the in-jokes, I loved it.
It's hysterical.
What was one you were going to say?
But so we get, we see the doctor and his wife, the hot blonde Dakota.
Dr. Dakota Blake. Block?
Block.
That's what I said.
And in one of her notes, it says Kill Bill, which clearly references the movie, but also her husband is named Bill.
Oh, that's fun.
And
I like that.
If you listen really closely when they get into the hospital, they're listening to the radio, and it talks about the tragic passing of Jungle Julia.
Yeah, that's on the radio when Fergie's in the car.
Yeah.
And that really confused my chronology when I was like skipping around doing a rewatch, but they kind of are happening concurrently to some degree. But like the conclusion of Death Proof is before the conclusion of Planet Terror. Actually, I don't know if that makes any sense.
Well, I think maybe they're just still talking about. Were they just still talking about the death of Jungle Julia?
The note on the radio is just like a dedication to like the late great Jungle Julia. So she could have been dead for long time by
I
then.
think she must have had to have been because it's 14 months later after the death of Jungle Julia when Rosario Dawson and that set of girlies jump on the scene. And like
And
obviously
Planet Hair's,
civilization
one day.
has
Yeah.
continued.
Right.
But I did love that there was like crossover, like Dakota Block is in the second one and her daddy-o.
And
Yeah,
the cops are in there too.
Yeah.
That one guy, forget his name, but I did see it in here at one point, so I'm sure I'll find it. It might have been Mike Parker or something like that. He has played a cop in 4 different of these movies. So he was like in From Dusk Till Dawn, playing the same character every time. Kill Bill, both of these films. So he's just like bringing that character around the circle. He's just hopping.
We
from
need to
spot
do From
spot.
Dusk Till Dawn. Maybe that's when they became besties because Quentin's just like in that movie.
Yeah,
as an
he
actor.
stars in it.
Yeah. It's
Seth
incredible.
Gecko. No, he's Richie Gecko. I don't know he's the nerd one.
He's the one who gets.
He's
the
not
toe
the sexy one,
in his
which
mouth.
is George Clooney.
He's the one that gets a toe in his mouth. Anyway,
That started him off, maybe. No, he surely had
he
started by
he
then.
said, "Yo, Robert, do me a solid."
What if in this scene somebody puts
I have
their
an
toe in
insane
my
creative idea
hot
for
little
you.
mouth?
But okay, another fun little tidbit before we move on with the plot is Robert Rodriguez started writing this movie while he was doing The Faculty.
Slay.
Yeah.
Slay.
He like wrote like the first 30 pages of it and he was like, I'm going to bring zombies back. That's going to be my thing. And then he couldn't get past the 30 page mark. But then 28 days later actually brought zombies back. So he missed the mark there. And
then he just cribbed the ending. He saw 28 Days Later and what happened with the army people there, and he went, "Oh, we'll just do that in here."
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. He got inspired.
He's like,
Oh, I know what the next 20 pages are. Don't worry.
that's how I got rid of his 30-page slump.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I was shocked to know that a lot of people don't like this one and they think it's stupid. And I'm just like, yeah, that's a point that it's stupid. So shut the fuck up.
Why does it matter if it's stupid? It is cinema. It is art history.
It's not trying to be
Nice.
smart.
No.
I mean,
No.
parts of it I think you could argue are kind of smart.
Yeah.
They're. Well, I don't know.
It's
Actually,
just
that I would
all
say
so
that. It's
silly.
fun.
It's just
fun.
fun.
And it's trying to be fun, and that's all it's trying to be.
Yeah.
And like, is it? I don't know. I guess you could argue about like what is smart in films, and what qualifies for that. But I think it is clearly well thought out parts of it.
Yeah.
You know, like they're going through and placing things intentionally to set the scene for later, to have a little gag if they need a little gag. The bit with Dr. Dakota Block and her little friends, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
like it's used against her. I don't know why she has her hands up. So,
So
that's
many
one of those things
times.
where it's
Well,
like,
it's
is
better to be stabbed in the hand than in the face.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Eyeballs.
and then it's like
Mm.
that's there mainly. It's an obstacle for her, but also so that she just has floppy little hands for a long time. And then her hand gets like yanked in the door handle.
Yeah.
And
No,
is
it's fun.
it smart? I don't know, but they're thinking through like the consequences of things, and they're like setting the pieces where they need to be.
Oh yeah, it's not like it doesn't make sense. It all goes well together, but it's not like it has some big important point or something. But it doesn't have to. We can have fun.
I think my favorite like running gag through all of this is Cherry Darling wanting to be a comedian.
She doesn't want to be a comedian, but everybody keeps telling her she's so funny.
But she wants to be a stand-up comedian,
Yeah.
and then she loses her leg, and she's
Yeah.
like, "What am I gonna do now?" And
How
it's
can
just like,
I stand up? I don't have a leg.
Oh
I
my
did
God.
love though when he was like, "You're not funny," and she was like, "I know, but people keep telling me." And then that pops up like 1 or 2 more times in the movie where somebody's like, "You're so funny.
Funny.
You should be a comedian."
Yeah, she like does little jokes. It's so like that to me is actually
It is
really
funny.
smart. Like
No.
that's actually really
and there's
smart.
some
to
fucking
do.
like
They let you
horrible
see a
jokes
bit
with that
through.
too, though. When she first like, it's like you see her leg, and then El Ray gives her the peg leg, and she's like, "I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. What am I gonna do now?" And he's like, "All the funniest jokes are about cripples." And I was just like, "Oh God!" So they
That's
did it,
man humor. I'm sorry.
They did it in
you can
every
clearly
direction.
tell that this was written by men.
Oh yeah, it totally was. But I want to talk about my favorite man who's in this movie, and that is, what is his name? Abby or Abby?
Oh, Abby, because I was like,
Abby.
"There's 2 protagonists named Abby in the Grindhouse double feature."
Yeah.
There's Abernathy, Abby for
Oh,
short,
yeah.
and Death Proof.
Oh, but I love Abby so much. He's so funny. I love his styling. He's so
Oh,
sexy.
he looks so great.
His curly hair with the fucking like pirate headband thing and his hoop earring. And his fetish for balls. Love that for him. They make like 45 ball jokes in about 5 minutes, and I thought that was very like audacious. They just went so for
fresh.
It. They're like, is this too many ball jokes? And they're like, yes, but we're gonna add 4 more actually. And here's Bruce Willis, and he's gonna do one too.
Surprise, Bruce Willis.
His special ball knife, and here is his other special ball cutter. So we've got 2 tools at our disposal. And then we've got this little tank for pickling of the balls afterwards.
If any of the listeners have seen Dead Ringers, the what's his name? Body horror. Who's the body horror guy? Cronenberg movie. Thank you. It reminded me of the tools from Dead Ringers. Anyway, I'll show those to you later. But like, it's nice to have a specialty tool for something just that you need. And he has that little jar, and he loves to pickle them.
It kind of makes me want one and to take on first dates and be like, hello.
I feel like that's something you would have.
This is my
collection of like bull penises or bull.
This is my jar of balls.
Would you like to add to the collection?
So
Watch
terrifying.
out.
That's gonna.
You only need one.
I was kind of wondering when he plopped it out in that scene in the movie. I was kind of wondering if the second one was gonna come, or if he just like the knife looks like it's for scooping the whole pouch.
The
but
Quentin
then
sack.
the cutter, it's got like the bit in the middle and then the 2 blades on the side. So I was like, what are we
how
working
are we
with here?
extract? I want to see how this works.
I need to learn for science.
It's
for educational purposes.
It's beautiful. And I also just love, like, again, how irreverent this movie is, because like Abby does this whole thing where he's torturing everyone, taking their balls, blah, blah, blah. And then he falls on the ground and slips in the liquid, and like his mouth like goes onto the balls. And I'm just like, I am no better than a man. Like, that's hilarious.
Listen, fart jokes, funny as always.
Yeah.
Like, anything with poop, hilarious. Like, a ball in the mouth, gag.
Okay, well, so here's another thing that makes this like even more ingrained as an exploitation movie. So Bruce Willis, right? He's in this movie, but he's not in it that much. So another part of exploitation movies would be like exploiting I punched my mic, exploiting a celebrity. So like
exploiting the one big name
the
you could
one
get to sign on.
big name. So you're like, it's like Willy's Wonderland. They were like, Nicolas Cage is in this movie, except he's in it the whole time. What they would actually do is they'd only have that celebrity in it for like 5 minutes.
We had Bruce for one day and we just got what we could.
No, exactly. And so they in the advertisements it would be like Bruce Willis, Bruce Willis, Bruce Willis. And I think they did that for this movie. They like
kind of like what they did with Scream.
Exactly, with Drew Barrymore, a similar sort of thing. It all comes from that. But then when you actually watch the movie, they're barely in it. And like with Bruce Willis, he is barely in the movie. And if you look at his shots, he's not in it with like any of the other characters. So it's very
he could be on set by himself.
He
that
definitely,
day.
yeah. It's
Didn't
like
need to coordinate schedules.
It's like that one music video with Madonna and Britney Spears. Like we're never in the same room. Yeah, yeah. So I just thought that was really funny. Like they really went the extra mile to make it authentic.
It's beautiful.
We also have Thanos in this movie as well.
I know, Josh Brolin.
Yep.
He's so fucking creepy in this. He's so fucking terrifying. Also, I just have to say that, like, yeah, it's a silly movie and everything's so funny. Ha 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 ha. Everything that happens to Dakota is so fucked up. It's actually, like, if you think about it too long, you're gonna get really sad.
Yeah.
Like, first she's a lesbian stuck with Josh Brolin, who's a mean motherfucker. Don't spill your Coke onto your computer. Oh my God.
Well, first of all, I was gonna spill the other way onto Sydney's computer, so it would have been fine for me.
Don't do that. That's my work computer.
Work will get you another love.
But yeah, it's like first she's stuck with Josh Brolin. He's mean, he's abusive, and she's a lesbian stuck in a relationship that she doesn't want. Her lover is Fergie. Oh, that's the hottest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Oh my God.
Love that for them.
But then she fucking has to look at her beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lover's body decapitated with the brains eaten out.
It's been scooped.
It's been totally scooped, and that was a really funny scene too.
That was really funny.
And I want to know where the Fergie head is this day.
Where's the prosthetic?
I need to
Where's
know.
Fergie's death mask?
Where's Fergie's death mask? Is it in a museum? It should be in a museum or in her house.
I would want that in my house if I had like a fake head of me that got my brains blown out.
Of course you would want that.
You know Jojo from iHeart, Jojo on the radio.
Jojo on the radio.
He was in a horror movie one time and he gets decapitated in the horror movie, I think. And so they made a prosthetic of his head and he has it.
My dream.
It's like one of his prized possessions. So that's what's next for you.
That's all that I want.
Just as soon as we get famous enough to also be cast in a horror
Any day
movie.
now.
I
Any
want to
day
be
now.
in a Grindhouse movie. Let me in.
Oh my God, I would love to be in a shit tier horror movie.
Yes!
Are you kidding me? God, please.
Then we could talk about it.
That's what I think about when I watch some of the really bad ones sometimes. Like when I watched Hell House 2. Hell House LLC 2. My main takeaway was I bet they had a lot of fun making this movie with each other.
Yeah.
And it would be fun to do that. And if I didn't have to worry about giving a believable good performance, then I would love to do
It
that.
would be wonderful.
We should do that for our TikTok where we just like make a
Oh my
horror
God.
movie. That would actually be really fun. Let's do that.
But anyway, but yeah, I another thing that I really loved about this movie is we already talked about Fergie, but I just love that they're continuing the mid 2000s thing where they get a pop star or a pop culture icon
Yes.
and they brutally murder them in a horror movie.
Ugh.
Paris Before Her and House of Wax. There's also another reference to House of Wax. El Rey is like talking about how people eat more venison these days, and most of the time
Oh,
it's
the
because they get it from roadkill.
Roadkill.
And I was like, House of Wax.
House of Wax.
And you just watched the original Tourist Trap too. So
Yeah, it's in my brain all the time. I mean, I'm always thinking about it. I'm always thinking
House of
about
Wax.
her, her being Paris Hilton.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about. Oh, we were talking about Dakota and how her lover dies. The other thing that's sad is her son. And so
Tony.
here's something fun
Well,
before the sad part. Say the fun thing about Tony.
Oh, so Tony is her child, right? And when you're looking at him, you're like, this kid looks so familiar. And you're just like, what is it? What is it? And then you think he kind of looks like Danny from The Shining.
He really does.
The
The hair.
styling.
Yeah.
But guess what? What was Danny's little finger friend who like lived in his mouth? Tony.
I love that. I love a little reference. I love a little
Our friend
reference.
Simon figured that out.
He's so smart. He's so smart.
So smart.
Yeah, and so Tony is so cute. But then Dakota gives him a gun to defend himself while she's trying to get them to safety.
Because there's a zombie
'Cause
outbreak.
there's a
going
zombie
on. Yeah.
outbreak.
Like, here's the
It
thing.
is-
There's a full-blown zombie
Strap
outbreak.
up.
yeah, and she doesn't have hands that work, so she can't do it herself. So she's having a hard time. But yeah, Tony immediately shoots himself in the face.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
immediately.
Really sad. Really sad.
It's really sad. And
And
there's like
it-
so many like cutaway moments for the rest of the movie where she's like clutching his corpse, being like,
She carries it around for a long time. And then she has that one scene where she's like, I should have told him, don't point it at yourself. And that was also sad. But
And don't forget, her husband did just try to murder her.
yeah.
Yep.
And her to-do list where it said Kill Bill on there, the other ones were like, get cereal for Tony, like food for Tony's pets.
Right?
because
So she
Tony
was,
had so many pets.
and yes, and remember when the babysitters get like mad at her for not coming back by 10? They're like, you said 10. It's because Fergie was supposed to pick him up by 10.
Yeah.
But then Fergie died, so she never
Because they were
showed.
gonna run away together and have
Yeah.
a whole new
With
life.
Tony.
Tony was gonna have
Uh,
2 hot moms.
The dream.
But yeah, I mean, that scene is really sad. And you know that it's really sad because Robert Rodriguez could not bear to,
This was so fucked up.
yeah,
It doesn't make any sense. It also makes no sense.
He could not bear the thought of permanently killing a fictional child in that way and then like never seeing the actor again is the way that I digested that information.
Oh.
So he cast his own child in the role because presumably then, you know, that baby comes home with you and you're like, he's
Right.
fine. He's fine.
He's
So
fine.
He's
what-
fine.
I didn't.
I see him
I
every
didn't
day
kill
and
him.
he's fine.
I read this Collider article and it was like similar, but it said like he didn't want to cast some other child and scar them for life. So he cast
So
his
he did it with
own.
his own. Honestly,
child.
So maybe he knew that he could explain it away to his son.
Well, here's the thing: you can traumatize your own kids. You can't traumatize somebody else's
You
kids.
will
So
traumatize your own kids just purely by virtue of that's life sometimes.
Yeah.
So what's a little more?
What's a little bit more? So that's so bizarre. That's so bizarre. Your read on it is sweeter, but what I read was so fucked up. Here's another fun thing that Robert Rodriguez did. You know Chip, the owner of Chip's Go-Go Dancers,
Yeah, of course.
and you know the doctor who's looking at the pictures of the balls that have like flesh-eating keratitis. That's not a
Yep.
word. I just said
That was
I
such
just
a
made
jump
sounds.
scare.
Yes, I know that part.
Those are just people in Robert Rodriguez's life. Chip is his real estate agent. He's not an actor. He is his real estate
Well, he
agent.
did it incredible.
Yeah, he slayed it.
And
Slay.
the doctor is his doctor.
That's even funnier.
He brought a real sense of reality to
He's like,
the role. He
"You
really
really
I need a
did."
medical
grounding
professional.
force on that set, I'm
Chip-
sure.
Chip's in it like a lot though.
Chip is in a lot.
Did it like a
You know
lot.
that part when he like the twins, the hot twins, like bring him into the barbecue
I
joint.
had the time
and
of
he's
his
like,
life.
He's like, pretending that he's so injured, and he like looks to see if they can tell that he's faking. Like that's a real estate agent. That's just a real estate
Real
agent.
estate
He's
agents
just
are
a little
all
guy.
actors at heart, I think.
No, that's true. They have that.
Yeah, they have that
They
riz.
know
Yeah.
how to perform. They know how to put on a little show. Part of their whole thing is being charming.
Yeah.
And also, I think
Tracks.
a lot of people get their real estate license when they're like, what else?
Well,
am I gonna
acting
do?
failed.
Yeah. This didn't work out. I guess I'll go into real estate.
That is also true. Okay, here's something I didn't realize until I watched it again as well. You know how like at the beginning, Abby, we love him, but he's kind of even though he's the smart man who created this science stuff or whatever, he also created a thing that makes people turn into zombies, so that's bad. And also he's the reason that it wreaks havoc all over town because he's trying to fuck over Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
And
just
he
give him his
shoots-
balls.
He shoots the fucking things filled with the gas, and then it goes into the air, and then it gets everybody in the town sick. And so what I didn't realize, because I was thinking about it more like a normal zombie thing where it's like I have to go to
Ooh,
you.
do that again.
No, not now. They have to pay extra for that. But I was thinking like, oh, the rest of these zombie people had contact with the other zombies. But no, our final like 20 people, because actually a pretty big group, and every time you look at the group there's someone else that you didn't notice before, which I also like no consistency there. They're all immune to it. That's because that's what Abby's saying at the end. He's like people who are immune to it, they're the secret to the cure. That's why we need to get back to my lab so I can create the it's not anti-venom, antidote, there we go, the antidote. And so I wasn't thinking about it though, but like all of them that survived, that's why he needed all of them to come with him, because they aren't zombies because they're immune to it. That's the only reason.
Is there a reason that they're immune to it, or
I
just
think
like
if you get bit, maybe like you would still get it. I think maybe that's different, but I think they're immune to the airborne version of it at the very least. That's what I realized this time around.
Okay.
Abby kind of says that.
That kind of makes sense to me. I did rewatch part of Planet Terror, not the whole thing. And I was confused about that because there's that whole exchange in the beginning with the guy whose balls he takes where he's like, you let the specimens get away. And so I wasn't sure if the specimens were like the people who were immune that he needed to take back to. Maybe that also is the case. I don't really know. But
Well,
you
the
do see like the
specimens-
green cloud encompassing Fergie right before she gets got ultimately.
Yeah.
So that makes sense like why all the people nearby her would be zombified.
Yeah.
But she's also 2 miles from the military base.
Yeah,
so.
she's right there where all the rest of those guys just got gassed. So, I also thought it was interesting too that if like you get, I mean, it doesn't have to make sense. This isn't the type of movie
They're
that
not trying
needs to
that
make
hard,
sense.
yeah.
But like the whole thing with the military guys is that like they have to keep like
Their
vaping
gas
that
mask.
gas. Like they have to be having more of the gas to keep them from turning into zombies. But I also really like the creature design for this because like people do zombies a million different ways, but I've never seen it where you just turn into a bunch of bubbling, boiling, throbbing masses, and it was fucking disgusting.
Here's the thing. I was like listening to it earlier, and I was working and having it, so I didn't have it up on the screen, and I was like, "What is that noise? Do I have like one of my
sound?
Do I have one of my ASMR videos like playing in the background? Nope, it's just like boils on Pierce
Just
Brennan's
pulsating
face.
boils. It's so fucking gross.
We'll make an ASMR video for it.
Yeah, I mean, when we were watching it last night, it was very much like, okay, so this movie is kind of a marriage between 28 Days Later and Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, definitely.
And then on IMDb trivia, people were talking a lot about Night of the Living Dead too, which, as we know, is related, but I haven't seen. So I can't,
that's the OG.
But like the green gas and like the melting faces, like that is very much their brand of zombie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
The military involved.
I love it. There's so many throwbacks in this. I love let me be sentimental. Now that we've been doing the podcast for so long, we've seen so many fucking horror movies now.
We get so many of the references now.
Yeah,
Just like on our Malignant, when it was like, oh, I've seen now 5 movies that make this movie make
makes
more
sense.
sense.
No, it's so fun. It's so fun. Like that's why like we should rewatch some of these with our new eyes.
It's not about
Our real
being
eyes.
a horror expert. It's about having discussions and accumulating knowledge.
Exactly.
We also grow and change.
Yeah.
Wow, it's really beautiful.
Thank you. Sydney said earlier, I'm the,
more
brain.
you
So
know. Oh my god.
And Monica and I are the
On the
personality
record,
hires.
I'm also personality.
We deleted.
Yeah, but in this
we
group, you're the
deleted
brain.
where it was on the
X.
record that she said that.
I'm the brain.
Oh my god. Anyway, before Chelsea's ego overtakes us all,
I'm also the beauty.
we're all beautiful. So this is where things get like really fucking crazy. We're at full blown war in Planet Terror at this time. That like the whole planet is terrorized. And this is where we have the rape thing. That's horrible. But no one actually gets raped, and Quentin Tarantino's dick does completely dissolve, and then
Melt off.
It was-
he also gets stabbed in the eye.
Ugh,
And
the
that was
melting
cool.
dick thing while he was walking, and you get
And
that
he was
back shot. Was,
Still gonna rape her, even though
He's
he
like, I
had-
guess I just gotta be fast.
I was-
With what?
it would be so sticky.
It's just absolutely disgusting. And he does look fucking horrendous when he turns into big, nasty, pulsating boil man. So, you know, at least he gets a rightful end. But this brings us to the most important part of the movie. It's a part of the movie that I completely forgot, and I forgot about it again, even though I watched it last night, and then I watched it again today, and I was like, oh my god, how could I forget again? The Bin Laden part.
Oh yeah.
What's crazy about it, though, that I just don't know that we fully had processed last night, is that this movie came out before Bin Laden died.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, I was wondering about that.
Yes.
So I was like, I feel like this kind of preempts that. But yeah, basically Bruce Willis, who is like the leader of these
The military
of
guys.
these military guys, he reveals, like, was he saying that like he got infected with this when he killed Bin Laden? Is that what he was saying?
Don't recall.
I think that might have been what he was saying.
Who's to say?
Basically, he's like, yeah, I'm the guy who killed Bin Laden. They're like, you're the guy who killed Bin Laden. He's like, yeah. They're like, thank you so much for
Thank you for your service, but I'm gonna kill you now.
But then he
Actually,
blows up into the nastiest fucking
Ugh.
pulsating thing, and then they have to explode him. But they're like,
Boils and stuff in this movie is so heinous to
it's
me.
Yeah.
so. Oh my god! I
The
almost.
Josh Brolin when it gets rubbed into his face. I love
Oh.
the chain, the
Yeah.
little bone saw, like stopping right here after it cut his glasses. That was fun.
Yeah.
But then it stops because it gets unplugged. So
Yeah.
I love that choice.
I love that.
But then just the.
Ugh.
All
I
the
would have
pus.
rather. I would have rather that like bone saw cut my face off than have that like zombie pus.
The pus, I almost threw up today when I watched that
I
scene
know.
again. I was just feeling a little weak, and I was kind of hungry, and so it was just a bad time to see it.
I was super nauseous yesterday when we were watching this, and it made it worse. I was
Yeah.
like,
It was really fucking grotesque.
I'm thinking about it now. I'm like,
But after the Bin Laden part comes the also most important part of the movie, and that's when Rose McGowan, Cherry Darling, or Palomita
Palomita.
Little
gets
Paloma.
little Paloma gets anointed with her special leg.
Which is the sexiest thing you've ever seen in your entire life.
Her machine gun leg. Because I remember seeing the ads for this when I was younger.
Yes.
And all they advertised this as was machine gun leg. They were like, sexy, sexy machine gun leg. And that's another reason why this movie like flopped so bad, is because they just like focused on the like schlocky craziness of it in the trailers, which like, yeah, that's like the lore of a Grindhouse movie. But I mean, there's a reason why Grindhouse movies aren't the popular thing anymore. Like, people are more interested in like the story a little bit more these days and that sort of thing. So they had no idea what the fuck these movies were about. They were just like, sexy leg explosion, wow, and no one cared. And that
care.
would work with me.
Sexy leg explosion.
They were speaking directly to me, but I was like, I don't know.
I was 16, 17 when this came out.
I was 13. No, I'm not that much younger than you.
You're not.
14. They're 15. Am I? You're 2 years older than me. Well, no, because last night Simon was saying that he was
8th grade, and then a little bit 9th grade.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. Because last night Simon was saying that he was 17 or something.
Yeah.
And he's 4 years older than me. So that's why I was like, I was 13. But I guess
Simon's
that's
90.
He's
90?
were in
no, he's 3 years older than me because I'm almost 31.
Yeah.
I just have to come to a reckoning.
Yeah. If it's earlier or later, I was 16 or 17.
No, it's because I still think I'm
Class of
freshly 30, but I'm
2009.
actually getting close to 31, and that's where the math was not matching.
Ah.
And there lies the issue. Anyway,
Monica's our baby.
Simon is 3 years older than me. Let the record show.
Put Simon's full birth date and social
Here's
security
he's a
his
number on
Capricorn.
social
record,
security
please.
number.
He's a Capricorn. So he's January of 90.
There you go.
11th.
There you go. Oh, well, Jesus Christ. Now you're revealing too much about him. No one
Dox
knows.
him.
Dox Simon.
I don't know his social security number, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would.
Otherwise, she'd recite it for you right now. Sorry, Simon. I mean, he knows who he's friends with.
But yeah, this last action scene is like the sexiest thing that anyone's ever seen. It's like,
Yeah.
cool guys don't look at explosions. They turn their backs and walk away. That's like basically what's happening here. She literally picks up sunglasses to protect her eyes when everything's exploding. Like, it's awesome.
And they're very sexy sunglasses.
It's
I
fucking
love
awesome.
when they're on the bike and she gets on behind him and he's like, no, the other way. So she like rolls around and flips
Oh,
it.
yeah,
And
that
he's
was
like,
earlier. Yeah.
no, the other way. And then she doesn't get it. And she's like, oh, okay. And then they run out and she's like holding on, just like shooting her leg off the back of the gun.
So good. I also, just another bike reference before we get too far away from this movie. When Dakota gets on the back of her of the motorcycle and holds on to her, and she's
That's
like,
not what
"I'm
I said.
Cherry, darling," and she's like, "Yeah, you are hot." And
I
I'll,
thought you were going to talk about the pocket bike.
Yeah, the
oh,
pocket
that's
bike.
what I was going to talk about
It's
next.
so great.
Yeah,
There's
and
a
then
lot of great bike scenes. in this
El Rey
movie.
gets onto, may he rest in peace, Tony's little baby motorcycle
that goes 0 to 50 in 4 seconds. A
It's
child
fast,
should
baby.
not have
It's
that.
fast. And he's doing a little wheelie because he's going to be
You
dragging
just
on the
see his
ground otherwise.
legs. His knees are like this, and he's like, wee. It's so good.
So
I
fucking
love the pocket
funny.
bike.
But yeah, then El Rey dies. And
Which was so sad.
I was actually, honestly, I was so sad.
Monica was moved.
I was moved. I love that. I'm gonna be Cherry Darling,
Yeah, we're making
and I'm gonna
Adam
be El Rey next year for Halloween. It's
with
gonna
his
happen.
Vespa.
I'm gonna continue on with my niche fucking flop movie Halloween costumes, because let us not forget that people didn't like Mars Attacks
I
either.
liked it.
I did too,
And I loved your costume,
obviously.
too.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
I thought it slayed.
No one will know until they look at the reference photo, and then they'll be like, "Damn,
She
nailed
did
it."
Yeah.
Killed it.
But yeah. I really did forget about the very, very end of this movie though, and it's so funny. I just love that it's like voiceover.
Mhm.
With
And they're in like
Roscoe.
Mexico because
They're in
They went to the
like,
ocean.
part of Mexico that they talk about in one of their other movies. It's like another reference point for them. And like El Rey, his name is a reference to From Dusk Till Dawn, I think,
Yeah.
the town that they're going in there.
Oh.
It also means the king, which is why it's so
Oh.
interesting interesting that at the end, Rose McGowan is like Lorena. They don't say that, but she's the queen of the
yeah,
people.
they spell it differently than Ray in Spanish, but yeah.
And they have a baby because there was a sex scene.
Well, I know. Okay, this is a little throwaway moment it's not a throwaway moment. It's in the rapture of passion as he's dying, but we were having a fun time, so I missed it. She says it was going to be the two of us against the world, and he says it still is going to be. Touches her tummy and said, "I never miss." Because that's his thing throughout the movie. He says, "I never miss," and so he knew. He was like, "You're pregnant."
He took the shot.
He took
knew
it.
You're pregnant immediately. So then she has little baby El Rey, and baby El Rey looks exactly like him.
Yeah,
it's great baby casting. Incredible baby casting.
Incredible baby casting.
Incredible baby. I was blown away. I
like that it was a girl too.
Yeah.
So
I like that
it's a matriarchy now.
I like that she's in like this beautiful flowing white thing on a white stallion, just machine gun legging zombies.
Yeah. I like that Chip is still there with his the babysitters.
Yeah.
It's still throuple town over here. It's still throuple hours around these parts.
It's all happening and it's all beautiful.
And then you just see like Dakota holding a gun in like a beautiful 2-piece like sarong set. Just standing there. It's incredible.
It's so good. But yeah, okay, that's Planet Terror. We did it. We finished one.
We did it.
We finished one. Do we do the segments at the end of each movie or at the end of the whole thing?
I think let's talk about the trailers a little bit, and then we'll do segments as a whole later.
At the end.
And we can do segments for both if we feel so moved at that time.
Yeah, put it all at the end. Yeah. Okay. Otherwise, we'll get out of
It'll be so confusing for the listener. They'll be like, "Where were the segments for Planet Terror?
Where were the segments?"
You know how everybody skips to the end just to listen.
I know that everyone listens. Of course.
I know that everybody listens.
When I look at the analytics, it says 100% listened to every single time.
It said they want to hear the credits. They like
love
when I'm at the credits.
So we talked about the trailers a little bit, but there's more trailers to be talked about, and we'll talk about them a little bit more before we move on to Death Proof. The first of which is Rob Zombie's incredible werewolves, women of the SS. And it's just something that's beyond
comprehension.
Yeah, I can't believe they were actually going to make that. Oh,
I want to see it.
People were so angry about. Well, okay, no, it's different than. What's the rabbit? Jojo Rabbit. It's different than Jojo Rabbit. They were mad because they were making Hitler funny. Oh, but they're doing that in this too. So I don't know how that would ever turn into. I don't know how that would ever turn into a movie.
I think it's like a different audience, maybe that they're going after.
Yeah,
so different tone overall.
They're
for
like,
this
is
film.
a schlocky.
I liked Jojo Rabbit though. Hot take, maybe.
I did too.
I loved Jojo Rabbit. My friend Paul hates it more than anything else in the entire world. So
I had a great time
too. I get that too. But anyway, this one, I mean, it's got a lot more going on than Jojo Rabbit has. Like Jojo Rabbit doesn't have any naked ladies, so
it's just like if Indiana Jones can do Nazis, why not?
Why not werewolves? Yeah, honestly, it's really just a spectacular one, and maybe one day it will be made.
My favorite IMDb trivia little tidbit for that one was that, don't know if I'm going to say any of these names right, when Udo Kier asked Rob Zombie how he should play Franz Hess, he simply replied, "Play it like you want to win an Academy Award." So like they're giving these really serious performances in there sometimes too. Like the way that they're acting it is incredible, but also there's so many just titties abound, you know.
There's titties.
Is this also the one with Nicolas Cage?
Yes. Oh my god, that was a jump scare. Nicolas Cage as Fu Manchu, and he just screaming at the top of his lungs, his fake Fu Manchu, like waving in the wind.
He did that for free, apparently, because he's friends with Rob Zombie.
I love
anything
that.
for you, King.
I love that. I love him so much.
That tracks for Nick Cage,
I love Nicolas Cage so much. He deserves the world. Anything and everything for him. But that brings us to this was Edgar Wright's one, right? Don't.
That one
was so funny. That one was just pure comedy because like even the narrator's voice, he was doing it so like jokey joke. He was like, he says everything so slow. If you're thinking about going into that house, don't. Like it's all so slowed down and hilarious. So that's like based off of like like British haunted house films. Of,
It's
like, the
based
60s
off
and 70s.
of a movie called Torso from
Oh my god,
1973.
I've heard of Torso.
Yeah, and in
Ugh,
the trailer for Torso, they chant the word torso faster and faster with each like shortening clip that they're showing.
really?
Yeah, so that is like the specific reference that they're doing. But
That's so
it's,
fun. Oh man, okay. There's so many movies that were listed as references.
Yeah,
with
there's
this
one bajillion,
and it's like a whole fucking list that I want to watch all of them so bad. I was also just looking at the list of like best Grindhouse movies, and one of them was like Vampiros Lesbos. We've talked about
we've
doing that
definitely
one.
brought up that title before because we've for sure been like Vampire Month, Pride Month, like
It's literally like lesbian vampires. That's the name of the movie. And also Black Christmas was on there. So we've watched a lot of them.
You know how I feel about
and
Black
I didn't read
Christmas.
the whole list, so I'm pretty sure a lot of the other ones that we've covered are on there too.
Do you think that Jordan Peele got some inspiration with naming all of his movies from Don't? Nope.
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 Yeah, that's the inspiration. This trailer was the inspiration.
He loved Grindhouse.
He
I
lo-
mean, I have no
Honestly,
idea.
that would
I have no
track.
idea.
I feel like he would love Grindhouse.
Yeah.
What's
He's a
not
funny-
to love?
He's a funny guy. He likes humor. He likes spooky things.
There's this Collider article that I linked in the references, and they're like, the only good part about Grindhouse is the trailers. And I was like, okay.
Wrong.
A
The
little
trailers
dramatic.
are fantastic, yes, but why tear down everything else that they built? But yeah, that brings us to the one for Thanksgiving.
Wait, no, I want to say more. Well, I
Oh,
don't want to
say
say
more.
that much more. I just want to say one more thing.
Say more, say
which
more.
is that was the Edgar Wright one.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched nearly enough Edgar Wright stuff, but I love Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yes.
And that humor was like a very evident
Oh,
overlap
yeah, I can
between
totally
Don't.
see that.
It also had Lucy Punch, is that her name? I think. Yeah, she's the blonde in the Don't trailer. She worked with him in a Hot Fuzz, but she also is in The 10th Kingdom, which one day we're gonna somehow fit into one episode based on 10
What
hours of
is that?
long movie.
Oh, 10 hours?
It's a limited series.
a
It's a
limited-
long movie.
It's a mini series. This is like whenever I bring up that dinosaur one where dinosaurs and people lived in the same world, and that's my 10th kingdom. That's what really spoke to me.
The Creationism
but
Museum?
I'm not gonna make us do that. No, it was like this fucking 10-episode mini series that I watched as a kid, and people lived with dinosaurs, and I thought it was so fucking cool because I was obsessed with dinosaurs.
Was it Dinosaur?
I don't know. I'm not
No,
gonna make
that
us
was
do
joke.
it though.
That's the one where people are in the dinosaur suits.
Oh, it's also a good one.
No,
but anyway.
we are going to do 10th Kingdom, though, because I brought it up several times on several episodes, and it has Diane Wiest, who's in one of our recent movies.
Oh, yeah.
So,
A clear reference.
A
There we go.
clear
So we have to do it.
reference.
Okay, well then that brings us to Thanksgiving. And I did a little fun compare contrast with
Hit
the
us with
two trailers. Well, they're very, very different, but I haven't seen the new Thanksgiving movie yet. And I really, really want to, but I just haven't made it to the theater because, I mean, if you watched the last episode, you heard how sick I was. I listened back to it and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry to the listeners. I sound disgusting and phlegmy. Anyway.
They could have released it a little earlier in November. If
We
they
almost
wanted us
did
to
it.
have
Yeah.
Thanksgiving time to see it. Yeah,
But
They
we
should
released
have-
it right before Thanksgiving.
They
down
really
to
should
the
have think
wire.
about our schedule.
What about us?
Yeah, no,
What
but
about our
I
availability?
mean, because of that, though, we did Malignant. And isn't everyone happy that we did Malignant? I'm happy we did Malignant.
I'm happier that we did Malignant now that we've done Malignant. I certainly would have swapped ahead of time, but
Yeah, because I love Eli Roth. He's
I
like
love
a little
him.
freak. And
He's such a freak.
love
the way that it was
that
meant
for
to.
him.
I love him. Oh my god. Like just this trailer in particular, I love the part that he's in, like the one in Grindhouse, not the real one. I love like when he's getting his BJ and
In the
she
car.
reaches up and she's like, "Why is it wet?"
And his
So
head's
he's
gone.
decapitated. That's so
This
funny.
poor girl.
the way that trailer kept going every time that I thought that it was finished.
Oh my god.
I was like, it's over. The characters are all dead. That's the end of the trailer. No, here's a cheerleader. Oh, here she is again. Oh, here she is again. Things kept happening to her. This poor girl.
If I don't see that scene in the new Thanksgiving movie, I'm going to be really upset.
What, the trapeze one?
No,
The trampoline?
no.
Sorry.
Him
I said
getting-
trapeze and it wasn't the right word. So I,
Him getting a blowjob.
I don't know if that's
And his
in it.
head getting
I don't know if that's in it. I
decapitated.
think the trampoline part is, and I think a person being a turkey
Oh, a person.
Is
Good
it?
I
at
think a person being a turkey.
I
is
think
in
that
it.
was in the actual trailer.
That reminds
something
me.
like that. But I don't remember it that
Well,
well.
what's
I
her face
posted-
gets like pushed in the oven for sure in the trailer. The
Mm.
lady.
What were you gonna say?
I posted it every Thanksgiving, and it was an old PETA ad, and it was like, "Would you like to be stuffed during Thanksgiving?"
yeah.
And it's like a
She
lady.
would.
Yeah, actually, that sounds great. This movie did that PETA ad, so I think PETA actually copyrighted
Plagiarism.
Yeah,
from
for real.
this trailer.
Seriously,
But yes, everybody wants to be stuffed for Thanksgiving.
so funny. I love Eli
I like the
Roth.
mashed potatoes, so stuffing is not my priority.
You can be my little mashed potato, Chelsea.
Okay. Sweet potato.
I love Eli Roth so much. He's a
always like-
sick little fucker. I'm moving on. He's a sick little fucker, and his movies are disgusting, and bad and wrong. But I love that about him. And I heard that Thanksgiving is like a fun, stupid slasher.
Okay.
I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard it's pretty fucking good, so that'll be great. And that's the tie-in to the now. So hopefully that gets us all the views that we want to get. Are you listening? Because we used RSO and said Thanksgiving and Eli Roth. Maybe it'll work. But that brings us to Death Proof. And I didn't like that they let us know at the beginning that there was going to be another reel that was missing. I liked when it was a surprise.
Yeah,
But it starts out right away with feet.
it does. She has very nice feet, though.
She does have nice feet. She has nice feet. And we watched this last night and we didn't listen to a goddamn thing any of the girls said
Nope.
for the whole first hour of the movie because it's literally just a long conversation.
Yeah.
But I listened to this today,
Okay.
so I learned about some stuff.
Tell us all about it.
I mean, the first stuff with the first girlies is just kind of like getting to know them. Obviously, it's like Jungle Julia. I was really confused about what her job was at the beginning. I was like, is she a famous porn lady? No, she's a radio DJ. I was like, I'm so confused. But it did remind me of like, do you remember when Big Boy had those ads everywhere all over LA of him in like sexy lingerie?
Yes.
It was exactly like that. So I guess that used to be a thing where people had sexy morning show billboards.
Growing up, I actively remember all of we had one that my dad came up with in Cincinnati it was the Bob and Tom show on WBN. And one of the guys was pregnant. They did it. And so it's like a maternity shoot.
Mpreg.
Oh my God.
We have that billboard framed in our house somewhere.
That's so
He
funny.
started the Mpreg trend.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah,
Just so progressive.
Oh my God, slay.
the beginning though is just Jungle Julia being herself with Shayna, not Shauna. Don't get it twisted. There's a whole part where she talks to Eli Roth
It's
about.
Shanna, like banana.
Oh, it is Shanna. I'm so sorry.
Wow. About to get canceled.
I'm just gonna let you know right now that the
For the
reason
third
I said
episode in a row,
Shayna is
Monica
because
canceled.
I have a friend.
Go ahead, try and explain yourself.
I have a friend and her name is Shayna, and I would never mess up her name, but I don't know this Shauna or Shanna or whatever the fuck her
like
name
banana.
is.
Shanna Banana.
Shanna just doesn't come
Not
out
Shauna
naturally.
like banana.
Mm.
Or Shayna
Shanna
like
Banana. I'm gonna call her Shanna Banana for the rest of this, otherwise I'm
It's
not
the
gonna
only
get it
way.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just her and then Butterfly. What's her real name? It's Butterfly. That's her name.
It's like Arlene or something like that.
Okay, then it's definitely Butterfly. But they're
That's
all,
just like how Wayne's real name is Catfish.
yeah,
Yep, always.
exactly. You gotta if it's a name that gives you the ick, you give them a new name.
You give him a new name.
But anyway,
Animal related, preferably.
Butterfly is so beautiful to me.
Oh, she's credited as Butterfly. In
Yeah,
here.
I don't know if she gets another name, but anyway, and it's just them fucking around town. They're going around town. They're hooting, they're hollering, they're drinking, they're having margaritas.
We should go get margaritas.
Exactly. We're
We
gonna
need to-
go tomorrow to get margarita. No, Thursday we're gonna go get margarita. Want to get margaritas?
Maybe if I'm free.
God, she's so hard to pin down. I cleared my plans because Sydney's in town. I have nothing on the docket except for Sydney.
As one should. It's all about me.
But yeah, I mean, this movie is a slow burn for sure. It's just like the girlies showing off their feet, going around town, letting you know who they are
But,
as
like,
people.
That is what we do as girlies.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
relatable.
And I only watched it the one time. I was gonna rewatch it, but I just didn't make it through. I would like to rewatch it again. I think watching it was a lot of like, when is something gonna happen? It was so much dialogue, but in hindsight, having finished the movie, I really, really appreciate the structure of it.
Yeah.
Because you're spending so much time with Jungle Julia and her friends, investing in them as people, I mean, their characters, but investing in them as people, in their friendships, in their relationships, so that when Stuntman Mike shows up and does his Stuntman Mike thing, you know, you are now, like, it's a little Scream adjacent, it's a little Psycho adjacent with like the bait and switch of who like the real main characters are.
Yeah.
But you need to set the stakes up for them to fully pay off in that way, where you are so invested in Jungle Julia and her friends that when Stuntman Mike does his Stuntman Mike thing, you are now actively rooting for his demise the whole time with the second crew.
Yeah.
And
No, totally. You're so right.
The emotional stakes of it, it's so essential. Like it is so weird because after Planet Terror, it's so like
it's so slow after Planet Terror,
especially because it like takes place beforehand, and so you're like, why isn't it beforehand? I think you kind of need the goofiness of Planet Terror to set you up for the goofiness of Death Proof, which is like a slightly different brand
kind
of
of
it.
goofy.
Yeah, they need to
I
like,
agree
prime
with
you
you
for that because the rest of the movie is so like grounded in many ways, in just normal dialogue scenes.
And I think the end of this movie, the end of Death Proof, is such a like fucking like bam, you know,
Literally.
that it's a great end
It's
for the
such a
whole
fun
double
end. Yeah.
feature. You know, if you had to go
The
from
end
that
of
and into
Planet
like
Terror would not hit the same.
no,
at the end.
because
No.
it'd be so silly after this being like kind of like it's kind of a horrific movie at the beginning because like you're like we were saying, we're getting to know these girls and then the carpet's ripped out from under him from this man who's just fully psychotic, fully
Horrifying.
stalking them for weeks and weeks, has their
He's a
pictures
wolf.
in his visor.
Yeah.
Like and he's such a head case too. I love that there's so much chatter actually.
There's a lot of layers.
Because you learn a lot about him, you know, his insecurities. Like he's so insecure about his age and how he's older and how he's like a has-been.
And his scar,
He's
so how he
insecure
looks.
about his scar and his looks. He obviously cares a lot about his looks because like he's a fit guy. He's got his suave thing. There's a part
He's
that
got
I
his
didn't
icy hot
notice.
jacket.
Yeah, I love the icy hot. There's a part I didn't notice before. It's Eli Roth's character and one of those other fucking guys. I don't know who they were, but some of the dudes, they were discussing how they could basically get the girls so fucked up they could take them home. Haha, that's
Jaeger.
so lovely.
That'll do it.
But then
Don't give them tips, Sydney.
no, that's what they say in the movie.
in the movie.
Okay.
In the movie, they're like, "Oh, we'll get him Jaeger," and they're like, "The girls will never drink Jaeger," and they're like, "When they're drunk, they'll drink anything if it's free."
And
I was
girls drink
like,
Jaeger sometimes.
I would,
I-
I
Girls
literally,
drink
I love a Jaeger
I was
bomb.
looking at my bottle of Jaeger. I don't know where.
thumbs down.
is
for
that?
Monica.
Like, what is that? That happened earlier today.
Guess what, Monica?
What do you think that is?
I don't know. At least it's not balloons.
Can you believe that? We're
We
literally.
celebrate her.
I
We
wanna-
bring her back down to earth.
I want to let you know right now, listener, that we're recording this on fucking photo booth on my laptop. How the fuck does that have little emojis? That happened earlier today when I was using my computer to watch the movie. Like a thumbs up came on over one of the girls. I'm freaked
She was
out.
doing a good
There's
job.
a ghost. Do you think there's like malware on my computer?
Somebody is watching you constantly being like, thumbs up for Monica.
Monica's
thumbs down
FBI
for Monica.
agent is not
Balloons for Monica.
with her.
She's doing such a good job on podcast. I'm going to send her balloons.
I was having a great conversation too. What were we saying? Oh, okay. Here's what I remember. You can't take me off my game. Okay, anyway. But Eli Roth and what's his fucking name were like, oh, look at this guy. Like, do you think he got that scar from falling out of his time machine?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that's brutal.
A
Because he
bird.
looks like so retro.
Retro?
Yeah, he looks so like, which I throughout this movie was saying, oh, he's so hot.
Yeah.
and-
and you're not wrong.
And
So
here-
it's Kurt Russell.
and it's
oh my
even
God.
funnier because especially back in the like early aughts when this was filmed, the 70s was having a huge
Yeah.
like
Renaissance.
Renaissance style comeback, which again, now that we're back in the Y2K aesthetic, the 70s are back because it was back then. And so Kurt
My
Russell,
ringer tea.
but like Kurt Russell then aesthetically made sense.
Yeah.
And Kurt Russell now aesthetically makes even more sense.
Oh, okay. Well, while we're on this fashion thing, let's go with that for a second. I loved also with these movies that like they're definitely trying to mimic the visuals physically of a Grindhouse movie. Like they're scraping up the film, like you were saying. They're making it look like that or whatever. But in actuality, what's going on with these stories are modern stories. They all have their cell phones. Their cell phones seamlessly go into it. There are some things that maybe feel a little 70s, but yeah, that's because of the style in the 2000s. So it's very clearly Y2K. They're wearing the low slung pants and
Fergie's
the
butt crack, I'm
baby
pretty sure, was out
tees.
a
Oh my
little
God.
bit.
Which I like.
She looked like a fucking Bratz doll. There's a Bratz doll that had those pants that she was
Jasmine,
wearing.
probably.
Exactly. It was inspired by Fergie.
Jasmine.
Also, I've read an article and it was like, and Dakota's partner, Tammy, in parentheses, Stacey Ferguson.
Yep.
It said that instead of Fergie. Anyway,
That
didn't
is
know
her
that.
name.
That's how I
actress in Grindhouse.
That's how I learned her name. I didn't know her name was Stacey Ferguson, and still to today. Thank you, Collider. Anyway,
That's how she's credited in the beginning.
Yeah.
though,
Yeah.
Because I didn't file it away when I saw it.
Right, we didn't.
No, that's why I was so
Stacey
surprised.
Ferguson. Yeah, but now that you say Stacey Ferguson, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember.
Oh, yeah,
seeing
that is her name.
and
she is
clocking
a
it.
Stacey. I love that. That's
She's
hot.
a Fergie. She's a Fergie.
She's a Fergie. She's
actually a
everything.
Fergalicious.
So true. So
Definition.
true. But yeah,
the boys go crazy.
I love how the like phones are so, and like modern technology is like seamlessly in the movie, and like it's also really fun too because it was 2007, so they're using like the fucking like
the sidekicks.
annoying ass old way
I know,
of
this movie might
texting.
have even come out
T9.
before the iPhone did.
Specifically, like yeah, that's what it's called. T9.
T9.
Specifically, Jungle Julia, the way her texting works, where she like wrote out the message and then went down to select who it was going to. I was like, that is so
Uh-huh.
stressful. That
I
you could
remember
hit
that.
mom by accident so easily.
I remember doing that. That
Yeah.
was such a time.
But yeah, I think that like aesthetically that was really fun. But then they also did a really good job of like giving it that older sensibility too because of Jungle Julia's music taste. She was playing a lot of like older songs. I don't know if they're necessarily from the 70s or whatever.
But they were older.
But they were all older songs, so it gives you that feeling again. But also, that's just the type of music that they liked. And also, apparently, that was Quentin Tarantino's jukebox.
Yeah, he like had it flown in, and he like selected specifically all of the songs. And if you go on IMDb trivia, there's a long list.
It's a very
of
long
all the
list.
songs.
Dude, I really like the music in this. Specifically, the music that they die to. I fucking love that song.
Yeah, that song
I really
does
like that song.
slap.
If you're gonna die to a song, that's not a bad song to die to. But we're gonna.
We should make a playlist that says, if you're going to die,
Songs
this
to die-
isn't a bad song to die to.
Now I have to
The
think
Spooky
really
Tuesday
long and
playlist.
hard about that. What would I want to die to? But anyway, yeah, he is like an insecure guy in a way, even though he comes off as so suave. You can like kind of see his tells, you know, and you have to have something wrong with you to be doing the shit that he's doing. Jesus,
It's called brain
Christ.
damage.
But like when he's trying to like tell them all like who he is, he's Stuntman Mike. Oh, he worked with this guy because he looked like him, and then he worked on this show, and he worked on this show, and he worked on this show. I didn't know any of them either. Obviously, I mean it's 2023. I don't know if they're real people that he was referencing, but like
was
it's going
referencing some of
right
his real
over
credits.
Yeah.
the heads of the people he was talking
Yeah.
to. Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun that he was less
Like
referencing.
Virginia Man, I think was one of them.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
like
all-
shows that he had worked on before, like as Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Which is so dope.
that's so funny. I love that. But yeah, also we get Rose McGowan again.
Yeah, she's blonde this
She's
time.
blonde. The blonde washes her out a little bit, but
It
she's
does.
still sexy.
It's the wrong shade of blonde. She should have been a
Too
little
blonde.
bit darker.
Exactly. She should do a strawberry blonde.
Honey
now
blonde.
I really do believe that they were doing her dirty with these films.
Yeah.
I know.
Why they put her in that wig?
Yeah.
It washed her out. Terrible. And didn't frame her face well. But anyway, she still looked very hot, and I liked her style.
We know she can pull off strawberry blonde. We've seen Scream.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, also, I just thought it was really interesting too, the like mind fuck of the Jungle Julia like prank that she played on Butterfly. I thought that was really just like, I don't know. It wasn't that important to the film.
That's some shit that I
But-
would do too.
It was so like scary, like and you learn so much about Kurt Russell, about Stuntman Mike. When he's like, oh, like when he gets into her mind and
I'm
he's
gonna
like,
have to put
I
you in
know.
my book.
Well, not even that. Before that, he's like, I can tell that nobody else asked you. and you're feeling a little insecure because you thought men would be all over you all night, and that isn't the case, is it? And they're like, no one else has been there, and now it's just me, this older man, asking you at the end of the night. And so he like really goes to like drag her fucking down, and he does a really good job of it. It's effective, but you can see like the fucking mind games that he plays. Like he's psychologically torturing her a little bit before she dies fast, but you know.
I want to go back to what Chelsea said about him having a little book of all the people.
Yes, the book too.
He meets, because not of all that I meet, but I have an enemies list in my phone.
Oh my God.
I used to have friends lists in my phone just so I could remember who I need to keep an eye on.
I had that too, but that's because I was like, I have no friends. And I was like, oh no, here's a
look
list.
at my list.
No, look at my list. Meanwhile, mine are my enemies list. They go all the way back for almost my entire life that I can remember.
God.
There's like almost 40 people on the list.
Seems low for you.
I am probably forgetting so many people.
You know, she also like doesn't want to carry hate for like, you know, just the random man on the street. The people on this list
Sydney?
really mean something.
Sydney would carry hate for
I
the
will
random man on the street.
absolutely.
Okay, fine.
It's not carrying it. It is cradling it
It
gently.
fuels her.
Yeah, the hate does fuel you.
See?
You're right.
I live for
You're right.
spite.
You're right. I forgot. But yeah, no, I loved the book. And then of course the lap dance. Okay, let me tell you something. I remember the lap dance. I remember it, and it wasn't in it. And I was like, did I have a dream?
Did I?
Did I have a dream?
It
Oh, I
exists.
must
They
have-
filmed it.
Oh,
was
that's
a
the one you were
DVD
saying.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube. I'll
Okay.
link it in the episode notes. She does a really good job.
I want to watch it now.
Okay. Anyway, so it does exist. We'll link it in the references.
It does exist.
And it's great, in case you were wondering. It is fantastic. But yeah, it is a really good slow burn movie. And here's another thing before I forget. Quentin Tarantino actually did the cinematography for this.
Oh.
Yeah, like this is like one of his only films. I think the only film that he filmed it, actually. So interesting.
That is
For
interesting.
him.
That is cool.
Yeah,
No wonder
and-
there's so much feet.
But he like fucking he doesn't hate this movie, but he's like, this is my worst movie. And
What? I liked it.
But he's like, if this is okay, let me qualify it. He's like, this is my worst movie, but if that's my worst movie, that's not
Then
so
we're
bad.
That's not so
We're
bad.
doing okay. But yeah, a lot of people, like, there's so many articles that were like, underrated, this is actually his best movie. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I agree with that, but
I think it's his best that I've seen.
it's the
The only one you've seen.
It's also the worst that I've seen.
But yeah, I think I really appreciated the slow burn of it all the second time around. And then it starts to get into a fast burn.
Right.
Pretty quickly. And the whole lead up to Rose McGowan getting into the car with him is really funny when she's like, he's as old as my dad. And he's like, I can hear you. I'm not gonna fuck him. It's so
I can
funny.
hear you.
It's so funny.
That was so funny.
But you can see her, like, all of her hackles going up, and like she's realizing this isn't a good idea to get in the car, but she does it anyway because Uber didn't exist in 2007.
Horrifying.
And
And he seems to have like a rapport with the barman. And so she's
Yeah.
kind of trusting that they have an established something.
Like,
He's been
he's-
around. The barman can vouch
For
for
yeah.
him.
But
which is I don't know. I thought it was interesting that in Planet Terror and in it's both in Death Proof. Jungle Julia and Abernathy, Rosario Dawson's character,
Yeah.
they both have like a thing with a director going on.
I thought it was the same
I
guy,
thought it was
but
two
it's
at first,
not.
but it's like Chris Simonson and Cecil.
Yeah.
But they both have a thing with the director going on who forgets their birthday and bangs somebody else. But so I wonder if Stuntman Mike like has any relation, because if they're both like, oh, the director's in town, or like, oh, we're working
That's
on
how
a
he
movie.
knows.
Yeah,
That's
if
what I
that's
was
why
thinking.
he's established. That's why he's been around for so long. But if things are like coming to a close, it's like time for him to do his little thing before he moves to his next area.
So here's another thing that I thought is I don't think it's right. It's
Okay.
wrong. It's definitely not true. But fast forward real quick to our new set of girlies that we'll get in a minute. They're
Mhm.
talking about one of them's I think is makeup artist. Abernathy is makeup artist, and she does Lindsay Lohan's makeup,
Hair and makeup,
and Lindsay Lohan's in this movie. And then after we finished this movie, we watched the actual trailer for Machete. And at the very end of the actual trailer, it said Lindsay Lohan, and I was like, what if canonically they're filming Machete? But they're not because it's a cheerleading movie. But it was a fun little idea for a second there. But it's
It could be a Machete spinoff.
yeah, the cheerleading sequel
Straight to
with Mary
VHS.
Elizabeth Winstead. I would watch it. But anyway, back to the moment at hand. Rose McGowan gets in the car, and I just think it's so scary that this part with her in this fucking shitty seat, this metal shitty seat.
And the way that he sells it too, by being like, yes, you're in a little cage, and I recognize that that's scary, but I can't touch you now.
Yeah.
So actually, don't you think maybe that's a perk? And she's like, well,
Yeah,
when
actually.
you put it that way,
He just lures her in.
she is not.
She is not
considering
trusting her
all-
gut.
Yeah, here's the thing. She's trusting her gut a little bit, but she's only thinking of one possible terrible outcome, which is that he's going to be a perv to her. And like, that is part of it because the cop says at the hospital or whatever that like, this is this guy's fetish.
Yeah.
But she's only thinking like he could perv on me. She's not thinking he might full blown murder me.
Yeah. She's not thinking, well, anytime you get into someone's car, I'm like kidnapping. And they're gonna
yeah.
murder
You're going
me.
to go to a second location?
And I'm gonna be
Right.
killed. So yeah, I wouldn't be doing any hitchhiking. But like, anyway, I don't blame her. Is what we're getting at. Because like she checked as many boxes as she possibly could in the precarious
In the heat
situation
of the moment.
that she was already in. But I just think like his reveal. He's really good at the psychological torture. He really is. Like, it's brief. It's always brief, but he can get under these girls' skins. Like, the second that
At the turn.
he's like,
Oh, That
you
was
need,
so creepy.
like, oh, I'm going left. And you could have not been scared for a few more minutes, but I guess you're going to have to get scared right now. And like, he smacks her around in there. He's just playing with her like she's a little rag doll. She's got no agency. There's nothing she can fucking do. It's
And
so
there's, like,
scary.
Not enough normal car parts around her for her to even really try and brace herself.
No,
Yeah.
there's nothing. No armrest.
This
nothing.
seat pops right out.
There's no seatbelt.
No, there's nothing at all.
There's no like deck to hold yourself against.
Mm-mm.
Like you're just you're fucked.
And when she tries to reason with
And
him,
he does try to make his explanation sounds so reasonable. He's like, sometimes you have to put a camera person in here. Sometimes you just put a camera. It needs to be malleable in that way,
you can't
changeable
blame
in that
her.
way.
You
Yeah.
can't blame her at all for making the decision that she made. But yeah, I mean, and I just love that quote, which is just so obvious. But he's like, remember how I told you that this car is death proof?
Oh.
Well, to have the benefits of that, you really need to be sitting where I am. And then he just smacks her to death and she explodes. She doesn't explode, but she
like-
smashes her brain all up and she
Oof.
dies. She gurgles and dies. Very sad.
Does he dispose of the body?
That's what I was wondering too.
Or like, is she,
in there.
and like they just assume that she's also like a victim of that car crash?
Yeah. Well, they said the 4 ladies who died that night, didn't they? I remember them saying like the cop who's Dakota's dad. I think she says 4 women. So I don't know.
Because there was 4 women in the.
There's 4 women in the other one. Yeah.
Because Lana
But-
Frank showed up because she was their weed connect.
But also, I was thinking about this too. I was like, maybe Lana didn't die because
she's not one of the little girlfriends.
Well, I mean, he wouldn't be able to control who lives or dies once he hits the car.
Sure.
He can't get that like granular with it. But just looking at what happens when they do like all get fucked up, like it's pretty clear that the other ones are all dead, but there's just like glass that explodes in her face and like a shoe flies by her head. But like she like her neck doesn't snap or
Well,
anything
I was
like
gonna
that.
say,
So maybe
did we
it's Rose
see
McGowan.
her die? Because remember they do the like replay and they show.
No, that's what
That's
I'm
what she's
saying.
saying.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. In the replay, no, it doesn't look that bad
Bad.
for hers. Like it's not super clear. Like like Shanna Banana. Shanna like launches. Yeah. But anyway, before we like discuss that scene, just like the lead up to it is, I just think is like brilliant filmmaking.
Yeah.
Like just them all just they're so drunk they shouldn't be driving. They're having the time of their lives listening to that song.
Great
with
song.
like 15 different names as the
and the guy from the
I
Who
love that she called the radio
the station.
and
It was
she
like, you're gonna
flirts
play
with
this.
the guy on the radio because she obviously knows him and was like, put the song on so my girls can hear it. I loved that. And they're just really jamming the shots of all their faces, and they're like in the
having
mood.
a fun girly time.
And the fact that he has the lights off and he's zooming at them and he turns it on in the last second. Again, the psychological torture. So they see
The last
what's
second.
coming to them the last second. Oh my God. And just the anticipation, because I had seen this before. That's why I made us do it. So like the second I saw Jungle Julia's leg out the door,
Well,
I was
the
like,
second you saw her leg out the door, you knew.
oh my God.
Something terrible was
I was
going
just
to
so
happen.
scared. I couldn't even look at her leg, even though it's a beautiful leg.
But like that's such a like a great, because the first thing we see are her legs kind of like dangling off a porch.
Yeah.
And then again, we see her legs like dangling
And
off
the
a
feet
thing.
and the
And so,
car, yeah.
like, of course she's going to have her legs up. Like, that is part of who she is.
Yeah, maybe she's bisexual. She's giving off that energy.
She
That's how
is.
I sit in the car. That's another reason why I was so freaked out. I don't put my foot out the window, but I always have my feet exactly where you're not supposed to have them.
I do too.
If you do that and you get into a car crash, your
You're
legs
fucked.
will rip off.
You're fucked. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't be like me. It is.
I do it too.
Sometimes
So-
I think about it and I'm like, I'm playing.
I know. I think
I'm
about it
rolling the
all
dice.
every time I do it. Also, did you know? So, like, we see it flash briefly up. Jungle Julia is Sidney Poitier, and it is his daughter.
What?
Yeah.
That's Sidney Poitier's daughter?
Yeah, Sidney Poitier, Sidney with a Y.
I don't understand. Say again.
So you have
That's-
Sidney Poitier, who is a famous male actor. He's
Okay.
the first black man to win an Oscar.
Okay.
Sidney Poitier, Jungle Julia.
They're both named Sydney.
Yes,
Okay. That was
And
my
that's his
clue.
daughter.
Oh, that's why I was confused.
but girl Sidney is with a Y, SYDNEY.
That's funny.
And she uses her middle name too, which starts with a T, but I don't know like
Oh,
what it
that's
is.
so fun.
But
That's cool.
so it was
She's
like
beautiful.
Sidney Poitier, and I was like, he's in this film? And then I
Yeah,
was like,
I remember
where
you said
is
that.
he? And then I Googled it, and it was like, no, it's his daughter.
Yeah, because I was like, I know that name, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what he looked like or anything like that. But anyway, that's really cool. But yeah, I just thought that they did a really good job of like building dread, and then I loved the replay for
Oh,
different
that was
times. So you
great.
could see every death up close and really get that visceral experience. Her leg, the way that it flopped, that was
Ugh.
such a realistic leg flop. I was like, that looks so real. It's jiggling around. That was so horrifying. And Shanna Banana fucking just launches into the fucking sky. And poor Butterfly.
Yeah, gets run
her
over.
head gets shaved off. She's dead for sure.
Her really beautiful face.
I can't find this in my notes or on IMDb trivia, but I did read on there that at one point for one of the car crashes, and it said like the first one, so I have to assume they mean this scene unless I'm wrong. But originally there was going to be an additional victim too, where it was going to be like on like an overpass, like a highway overpass. It was going to be the accident, and it was going to like fall down onto another car below also.
Interesting.
And so it was really going to be like an additional woman was like part of it. So I don't know that they were like doing the math in the hospital scene
Mhm.
afterwards in that way to be like, okay, how many ladies?
Yeah, because I really don't know what he did with Rose's body. And also her blood would be inside the car. And like, what would he do? Just drop her on the like side of the road? And
He would
like
throw her off an
also there's
overpass.
all of I don't know how he got away with it. I really don't know how he got away with it.
They were drunk.
They were high.
drunk.
Yeah.
They were drinking and they were high, and he
Was
is-
sober.
Yeah,
But if Rose McGowan was in the car, well, okay, I guess that's
it's in
still
the death-proof sea. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it was
yeah.
an accident, but he somehow miraculously survived. But she was not.
You're right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You can explain it away almost too easily. Oh man. But yeah, it's just it really does rip the fucking rug
Curtain.
out from under
The curtain.
you. The curtain.
So close.
Curtains can be ripped.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
right. How dare you question her?
I'm sorry. But I do like our second group of girlies a little bit more just because two of them are my true loves.
Yeah.
Two of them are the stars of our Y2K dreams. Rosario Dawson, star
There's a
of
Sky High
Josie
star,
and the
a
Pussycats.
Josie and the Pussycats star,
Yeah.
and a Final Destination 3-star.
Which
Two
one's-
Sky High stars. Kurt Russell and Mary Elizabeth
Oh,
Winstead
yeah.
are both in Sky High.
Oh
Wow.
my God. Wow. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, I love watching this again, like I loved all their conversation this time around. It was just so fun getting to know them as a group. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead is so baby girl. She is literally
She's so baby
like
girl in
step down
this.
Cillian Murphy. There's a new baby girl in town.
A
It's
new
baby
Mary
girl has
Elizabeth
been
crowned.
Winstead. But yeah, she's just so cutie pie in this. And like a moment that I like just passed me by yesterday was when she was like talking about the guy she's hooking up with on set. And she's like, he's a pervert. And they're like, why? And they're like, he likes to watch me piss. And then they immediately launch into this, like, what was her name?
P-I-S-S-I-N-G.
They were like, blah, 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 blah. So, like,
Yeah.
he likes to
Lee.
watch her P-I-S-S-I-N-G or something.
Yeah.
It was seamless. It was hilarious.
It's incredible.
If I had come up with that joke on the spot like that, oh my God, you'd get the Nobel Prize.
Worship.
But I do love all of them, and I don't know any of their names in the movie. Anyone want to?
Abernathy,
Abernathy,
Lee.
Kim and Zoe.
Zoe.
Yeah.
Which is Lee? Mary Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee is Mary Elizabeth.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But they do fun job.
Do-do.
Like they do. I say that all the time.
I know, and I always do
every
this.
time she goes. Sometimes it gets me. Sometimes I remain stone faced.
Do. Talking about do. But this time when they're talking, because we know where this movie goes, like there is payoff for what they're talking about and is actually laying the groundwork for things that will come back later. Because spoiler alert, they're not all just gonna fucking die this time.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Can you imagine if that was what the movie was? I'd hate it.
No,
Yeah.
okay, that's the thing. I couldn't remember what happened in this movie. I couldn't remember the like twist or whatever, if you want to call it that. And I was like, they're gonna hate Death Proof. It's so misogynistic.
ladies
It's just
dying.
glorifying
many
this
ladies.
man who murders women for fun. And then I was like, oh no, that's not what it's
No,
about.
he's a little piss baby, and we get to watch him cry.
Yeah, but
Cry, baby. Wah, wah, wah.
Oh my God, are you embarrassed?
well, I love their conversation though in the cafe because they do drop some like important little hints that come back later on. Like they reveal that I forgot her name already. Not Lee.
Zoe, Kim.
Thank you. That Kim like is packing heat. She
Mhm.
Yeah,
has
she's got her,
her
gun.
gun. So that I totally missed the first time around. And then also there's that long story where they're spinning around where Abernathy is telling her story. And that's where you see Kurt Russell in the background. Stepman Mike. He's sitting at the bar watching them that whole time. So I thought that was a fun little creepiness. But she's telling this story that's so long, relatable to me.
It's
And
like a 9-minute long
Our entire
scene
podcast.
where they like don't cut at all. They
Exactly.
just, like, film them going.
but the story is about how like Rosario Dawson is so like she like notices things. She noticed that there's this big ditch and she tried to tell like Zoe and everyone about it, but Zoe still fell in the ditch. And so she was like, like Zoe's so strong, she was totally fucking fine. She landed on her feet. If I had fallen in that ditch, I would have broken my back and been paralyzed for life or something like that. And so that's like setting it up for you to understand how like good at her job Zoe is. And like, yes, we know she's a stunt woman, but like watching the fucking like what was it called, ship's mast
Yeah.
thing later on,
It was
like,
so scary.
without that context, I knew she was a stunt woman, but I was like, this is fucking psychotic, why would you do this? But she like everything just rolls off her back because she's like a fucking tank. She's a Kiwi tank.
She did her own stunts in this movie. I mean, she's
She's
playing
a stunt
herself. but
woman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she did all
She
her
did
own stunts.
Uma Thurman's stunts in Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Also, I think the breakfast scene with them all eating is supposed to be like a callback to Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I saw that
haven't
on
seen
IMDb
Reservoir
trivia.
Dogs. That's one of the ones I haven't seen.
Yeah.
That's his least highest grossing movie, besides this one.
I really like that one. That's
Just
one of my
because it was like indie. It was like before he was
in the before times.
before he was Quentin Tarantino with the gravitas that we know now. But anyway, that's interesting. I got to see that. That's his first one, right? Right? Did I lie?
1992. Yeah, I haven't seen any of these other than this one.
Okay, great. But yeah, so I also thought it was really funny that the whole impetus for them going to like drive this white, it's not a Bronco, what was it?
Charger.
It's a Charger.
Charger.
Yeah, it's a Dodge Charger. Is because like this is maybe, I don't know if it's Zoe's first time in the States, but she's not in the States a lot and she wants to do something so fucking Americana. And she's like, when I think about it, I think about riding like going fast in a Challenger.
She
Or
talked about
Charger.
the movie Vanishing Point, which
Yes.
I haven't seen and I don't know what happens in it, but that's her reference.
It's
point.
another like B like Grindhouse movie, but like it's a car Grindhouse movie.
Yeah,
They're
and
gearheads, so they know all the car.
That's
movies.
like that kind of like action stuff can be part of
Yeah.
an exploitation film for sure. But I haven't seen it. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it either.
I haven't seen it either.
Fastploitation.
We watched this with Adam last night. He missed the first part, but then joined us for this one, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Vanishing Point, great movie." Blah 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 blah. And then throughout this movie, he was like, "Monica, we biked there. I know where this is.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
we."
He kept pointing out locations.
Yeah, which was so nice. He's like, "This isn't Tennessee. This is clearly near Solvang."
We have biked everywhere where people were crashing cars into each other. He's like, "Don't you remember that?" And I was like, "It's hard for me to look at the landscape when the cars are crashing into each other. I don't know. I'm focusing on the action. I'm just a small-minded woman over here."
He was like,
looking at the
"Ostrich
cars
Land is like
smashing."
right there."
Oh, Ostrich Land. Yes, of course, right there.
And we were like, "How do you know that?" He's like, "I googled it."
I love our girlie so much, but I do think that they did Lee so fucking dirty by leaving
Yeah.
her with that like Johnny Henchman man.
And saying she was a porn star.
Because like he literally is so creepy from the beginning. Like I didn't notice like when they first roll up, he sees them and he's like, "Oh."
Oh yeah.
He's ugh. Ugh. He literally does some weird like groany sounds just seeing women.
Men
Ugh.
are ick.
He's so ick. Poor Lee. Lee's fine.
And she
She's
was like
ba-
asleep too.
she's
and they,
a
like,
baby
leave.
girl, but she's strong. She's
strong like
fine.
ox.
She's fine. Nothing happened to her.
I think she's fine.
She's fine.
She's
I
totally
decided
fine.
She's fine.
I think
We don't circle back to her in the movie, but she's fine.
I believe in my heart that she is protected by a veneer of being famous enough to be in the magazine spread, and so he knows he can't get away with anything.
I agree. Yes.
That's
I
what
believe that I
choose
agree with
in
you.
my heart for this film.
But yeah, so then they start doing their dumb shit. And I just want to say that there's a lot of times where I say, I would never do that. But then you guys are like, yeah, you would. I would never do this. So you can count. It's not a lie this time. I would not
Monica's like,
lie upon the top of a car.
Monica's like, putting my tootsies up out the window is where I draw the line.
I would not do any of that. I wouldn't be holding onto belts. I wouldn't be flapping around. I wouldn't be doing any of that. I like to be
Her Prada
inside
belt.
of the car.
I did like that Rosario Dawson fought so hard to be included. I relate to that a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
I loved that. I loved that so much.
They're like, you can't do it. You're a mom. You have to be reasonable and sensible. And she was like, I can do it.
I can
do
whatever
anything.
I
You
want.
guys are always trying to leave me out because I'm a mom.
She's a cool mom.
She's a cool mom.
She's not a regular mom. She's a cool mom.
who murders people. That's cool.
I will say, I did not remember seeing the scene in the movie where they're like, I don't know if this was in the final cut or not, but there's a scene where they like buy the magazine, and I think outside in the car waiting are Rosario Dawson and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and Kurt Russell like walks out, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead is singing in the front seat. She's got her little earbuds in from the old school iPod from the commercials where they would dance.
I think this is cut. I think this is a
Okay,
cut
yeah.
scene. But
and
keep
she's
going.
like singing, and he comes along, and Rosario Dawson has her feet out the window, and he's like being really creepy to her feet and like
That's
touching them,
so
and he does,
Quentin.
like he wants to like lick it.
That is not in the movie.
That is
Yeah.
so Quentin Tarantino, though.
Yeah. But then Rosario Dawson she's got like a sleeping mask on, so she doesn't like fully
See him?
catch up and like realize what has happened. But they like realize as he starts to like walk away, basically, when they're like all getting resituated and like she's waking up and Mary Elizabeth Winstead is like turning around. And Rosario Dawson is like, I think he bumped my feet when he was walking by. And so she like recognizes him later in the movie when they're in the car during the chase. And she's like, that was the guy from earlier. And that allegedly was the moment where like she saw him as opposed to the diner. So there was this whole, I guess, other cut scene that didn't make it.
I'm kind of glad they didn't put that in. That's so gross.
Yeah. I mean,
I like it better when it's not so overtly sexual. There's just the joke that that's the only way he can get his goo or whatever the fuck
Ew.
that guy says. He says goo. I don't know.
What a fun phrasing.
I'm going to start calling it goo from now on.
God.
Veto.
But yeah, I've never been so stressed out as I was when he finally does start trying to fuck with them, and poor Zoe is still on the
hood of the car.
hood.
My God.
That was fucking terrible. Like when she flips around so her head is forward and she's just holding on to like the hood, that felt less secure to me for some reason. So I was like, I don't want to see her turn into mincemeat right now. I like her a lot. It's so stressful.
Really felt like she was going to go sliding off 1,000 different times.
Especially because at one point she like loses one of her belts, so she's only holding on with one.
And then
belt.
she's not
she
holding on
flips
to
around
either
and
at
she's
that
just
point.
holding on. Yeah, like oh my god, it's so
And
crazy.
she doesn't even have the leather jacket. Kim's wearing the leather
That was
jacket.
Which
so
why would Kim
stupid.
wear the leather jacket?
She
She's
was on the
driving.
Kim didn't want to do this at all. And if she's going to do it, she's going to get to wear the leather jacket.
Yeah,
Okay, guys.
yeah,
Whatever.
She needed convincing. She said, not only do you have to be my back-rocking slave, also I get to wear the jacket.
Yeah. But yeah, I just love the flip because like when Kurt Russell is terrorizing them, he's like, hee ha ha ha, hee, I'm having so much fun, la la la. This is my favorite thing to do. And then immediately when they flip the switch on him, he's like a crying little baby bitch.
Right? As soon as Kim shoots him.
That moment was so fucking awesome. Like,
You
when-
would, bitch.
yeah, he's being a little, I don't know what the fuck he was saying.
Bitch ass bitch.
He was saying some fucking stupid shit, and then she shoots him, and he's like, which I loved. I loved that. I loved to
I love
see
seeing
him,
men cry.
him cry. But that moment was so also terrifying when they are like, Zoe's dead,
Oh yeah, and they're crying.
and then she just pops up, and she's
Yeah.
not even freaked out. She's
They
not even
laid the
freaked out.
groundwork.
That's
She's good at her job. Remember, she can fall into ditches and survive when nobody else would.
Exactly. She knows how to go limp when you need to go limp.
Mhm.
That's
love-
an important part of it.
I love the poetic justice of this stuntman being taken out by stunt women.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what. So Adam brought this up last night, and he was like, "Oh, well, he's met his fucking match. Like these women, like
They can drive like
they can
him.
do everything
Yep,
he can do,
can.
and they can do it fucking better.
Yeah.
And
Like
there's 3 of them, and one of them has a gun.
yeah, exactly. You mess with the wrong fucking bitches, you dumbass.
Never mess with 3 women, and one has a gun.
And one has a gun.
And Lynn has a gun. No,
And
I
it's me.
love have a gun because
that.
Sydney has a gun.
Because Sydney has a
Yeah.
gun.
Yeah, because the rest of this movie, like, I haven't watched a ton of revenge movies, but like, I want to.
Yeah.
It was
I
great.
love a good women's revenge movie is one of my favorite
You have
tropes.
to
There's
sit through so much
usually
sad-
rape revenge, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it is often horrible at the beginning.
Yeah.
But this movie worked for me because while it is still a sexual assault in many ways, and it is the first half of it is rough with the first group, but the payoff is so good.
Satisfying.
Yeah.
Where he's being such a little bitch ass bitch, crying in his car, reaching for his whiskey in the glove compartment, like
Oh my god.
begging them to leave him alone, being like, I was just having fun.
I was
He's
just
run them off
kidding.
the road again. Like it's very satisfying.
It's so
It's very
satisfying. And I also love Zoe grabbing that pipe and getting on the side like she's gonna fucking joust.
Yeah.
Right? Like, holding the pipe like, yeah.
And then they
Amazing.
just kick the shit out of him at the
They
end.
kick the shit out of him. He literally
yeah.
gets curb stomped.
Yeah.
They don't just make him crash. They don't just get in an accident with him. They said, we would like to beat you
Beat
to
the
death
shit
with our
out
own
of
hands
you.
and feet.
Literally, Rosario Dawson is like, let's kill him. Like they're
Yeah.
And they were all like,
kill him.
fuck yeah.
Yes, and he deserves it.
I want y'all better be ride or die. Literally ride or die bitches.
Yeah, it's
When
like that.
When I'm like, let's
when she takes her foot and she's like,
It's like that meme. It's not a meme. It's a clip from a movie that I can't name the movie where they're like, I need your help. People are going to get hurt and we're going to kill people or something like that. And it's like this really, really scary thing. And the other person is like, when are we leaving? Like, they're just like, no
Let's
questions asked. We will be committing a murder today. Anyway, and as you know, Sydney knows how to kill people. So we might actually do it. No, I'm kidding. We're not.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
well, she would be Kim if she's the one with the gun. So
Exactly.
either you or I got to get on the bonnet and the other one can drop their
Monica's
foot
getting on the bonnet. Let's be real.
You have to get on the bonnet because I have bangs, so I'm Rosario Dawson. Sorry. That's just how it goes.
I feel like I would do it slow on a closed street. I would try it a little bit.
I keep trying to bring up that this should be a group costume, but Adam is
I would do that.
Kurt Russell, and we're all them, and we just get a fake beat him up at the end,
We just film him in a circle,
right? And us just
getting
like
his shit rocked. Yeah.
I think it
It's
would
perfect.
be really funny.
It's perfect. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do Grindhouse for Halloween next year. And
Yeah,
we're gonna do what we talked about earlier for Planet Terror one day, and then we're gonna do Death Proof the next day. It's
Hell yeah.
perfect. But yeah, that brings us to the end of Death Proof. So I guess
Yeah, because it just goes the end
The
on
end.
like a jump.
I love the jump. Oh my god, I fucking love the jump. The jump brings me so much life and joy and happiness, and I love it so
I
much.
love
and
a good
so
jump
good.
freeze
I
frame.
think it's so slay.
It is
it's slay.
slay.
It is slay at the end of the day. But yeah, it's Grindhouse. I mean, I think we did that pretty good. We did it less than the movie, 2 hours and 11 minutes.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that's
but
rare
we're taking
for
off way
us.
less time.
Yeah,
It's probably
it's fine.
under 2 hours,
That's
but we haven't
so
even
rare
done our
for us
segmentos
that
yet.
our episode
So
is shorter than the movie.
It's time.
we still have segments, Chelsea. It's
Okay, we'll do it for another
we gotta
hour.
we'll be brief on our segmentos. So starting off, how could these movies be gayer? You can share thoughts about any of the films, including the trailers.
okay. Well, you already have Dakota and Fergie gay.
Okay.
Gay.
I love that we had canonically gay things happening here. It's wonderful.
I feel like there
Should have
was
saved it for Pride.
Right?
No.
I feel like there was another like canonically gay, but I don't remember.
I feel like Lana Frank was a lesbian
Oh yeah, for
in
sure.
Death Proof. Just the vibes I got.
Oh yeah, her with Butterfly.
Cute. I like that.
I like that. I'm interested in that. I don't know. I feel like we said, Jungle Julia is a bisexual.
Oh,
just
yeah, for
based on
sure.
the way that she sits. That's how you know.
Yep.
For sure. And what else was gay?
Kim is gay.
Kim is
Kim
gay.
is gay,
Yeah, we talked about how Kim gives gay and
She
plays
gives
gay in
gay,
so many roles.
yeah.
Yeah.
but she's not gay in real life. I looked it up.
But she's gay.
We don't know her personal business.
She wrote, there's this thing, and she was like, "I'm not gay," and it's annoying
Oh.
that everyone thinks I'm
Sorry,
gay.
sorry, Queen. Sorry, Queen.
Yeah. Anyway, something like that.
Redacted.
Sorry, Queen.
It was something like that.
But
But
you can
in
be
this,
straight if you want to be straight. That's
in
your
the
No,
fault.
you
film.
can't.
in the film, she's at least got a little bit of
She's giving gay in the
spice.
film.
Her and Zoe have absolutely explored each other's bodies before.
Even if they're not gay, which they obviously
Just for fun.
are, I just think they're two gals who love a good time and they do a lot of crazy stuff in their jobs. And so, like, why not get a little crazy even when we're not working?
Exactly.
Get a little crazy. Try some stuff out.
I know that El Rey could be seen as a very straight guy, but also
That's
like
a bisexual man.
that's
Yeah,
a
that's a bisexual
bisexual
man.
man.
That is a bisexual man
There's
if I've
something
ever
fruity
seen.
about a goatee. I don't know. And I like that. That's why I like the goatee so much. It's really good.
Mhm.
And also, what's with the fucking Abby's thing with balls? Come on,
gay.
it writes itself.
That's gay.
That's gay. That's innate. That's canonically gay. There's not. That's the other canonically gay thing.
There you go.
It's Abby's obsession with
Balls.
collecting men's balls.
That is gay.
Okay, and then I'm sure some of those Nazi werewolf ladies are lesbians.
Oh, absolutely.
All of them, probably.
No way.
Probably all of them.
Oh, there's
it
also
wasn't their fault.
there's also a bunch of girlies making out in Chip's go-go dancing
Oh, yeah.
thing, and they're not
yeah,
even
those
on
two
stage.
Girls, those two girls.
Yeah, they're not even on
And he's
stage.
like, save it for the stage ladies.
He's-
Exactly, and then he's like, so what? Yeah.
And then there's Macheta is having like a threesome in his trailer with multiple ladies. And
Yeah.
so perhaps those ladies were gay even for each other as
Exactly.
well.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
It's about machete, but that doesn't mean that they can't be having fun.
Yeah.
exactly.
Enjoying themselves.
Exactly.
This movie's so gay.
There's so much gay shit. It's really nice. I love
I
to see
feel
it.
like Rosario Dawson with her little baby bangs also giving gay. We know that she likes Cecil, but that doesn't mean
But
he's not
Cecil
gay.
That
could be a
seems
lady's name.
I think they say he a whole bunch of times, but yes, you're right.
This is how could it be gayer? So
They
Cecil?
just
can make
switch
it
that
whatever we
pronoun and we're
want.
good.
Cecil could be a trans man.
Exactly.
See?
You never know.
Anybody can be a fuckboy.
That's
Ooh, yeah.
It's true. Anyone can kill. Anyone can be a fuckboy.
Somebody was a Hey Mama's lesbian. It was Kim. That's why I was
Mm.
like, that is a Hey Mama lesbian.
Fair. Okay. How do we feel? Any other gay things to say?
I think that Lee is also gay for me. Maybe.
That's a high
No,
femme.
because she's gay for me.
That's weird because she told me.
That's really weird because we can't share and I don't do that. She's just so baby girl in this. Anyway, well, her hair looks too similar to mine right now, so that kind of freaks me out.
Okay.
But we'll figure it
did-
out. So I'll give her the Ramona Flowers haircut and we'll be fine. Anyway, that leads us to where would Matthew Lillard fit into any one of the myriad of options that we have
I
here?
just really think he belongs in Thanksgiving for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been too much for him to have Five Nights at Freddy's and then also Thanksgiving a month after month, but he should have been
Look.
in the literal one.
Thumbs down for that idea,
Thumbs
Monica.
down, actually.
What? I wanted him to be in Thanksgiving. Why is this happening? I don't understand.
I wonder if that is in the video itself or just on your computer screen.
I don't
No,
know.
I think it's in the video because when it played on the movie earlier, it was like with the movie. So it's only showing up on the photo booth.
Oh.
It's in the movie. It's in our video. I mean, I think that's funny. So
I
it's
love
fine.
Okay, I think he would have done a really good job as Eli Roth in Death Proof.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
little,
Or
like-
one of those fucking skeezy guys.
Right.
Yeah. The guy with the fucking elbow spider web tattoo. If we saw him, have him
the
be a
creepy guys
little
in the
punk
bar.
again. Yeah.
Um,
Creepy guys / their friends.
he could have been the guy that comes in with the fucked up tongue.
Ooh, that would have been
I hate that guy.
hilarious.
Because we
That
all
would've
know
been
we
so
love
funny.
Maddie Lily's tongue.
Oh my god, that would have been
could
so
have
funny.
been the
That's such a
guy-
good one. That's such a good one.
That is a good
He
one.
sticks
the
his tongue out and you're ready
connection.
for it to be sexy and then it's
No.
He could have been the guy who gets to say, it's a no-brainer.
Oh yeah, would have loved that.
Oh yeah, that he would have been really good at that guy. As that guy. That guy's funny. I love
I think
him.
he should have been actually all of these parts.
I think he could
I mean-
rock a machine gun leg.
Oh,
No.
him as Cherry Darling.
We are not recasting Rose. She's gone through enough.
You said she didn't even want to be here, so maybe he gets a little machine gun leg. He does a little sexy dance.
You can pry Rose McGowan from my cold dead hands.
We will keep this film intact, and when we reboot it, when America is ready for a Grindhouse double feature parody, he can play Cherry Darling.
Okay, perfect.
I love that. She could play El Rey.
Oh my god.
Fun.
Wait. Oh no, we got him in both movies.
Yeah.
She can
He
play
would
Elray.
for sure do Ship's Mast.
Yeah.
He would
He would definitely.
He would do that shit.
He would definitely do Ship's Mast. For sure. He's fucking unhinged. We love him. Okay, dumb bitch for each and every single one. We can't do it for the trailers. There's not enough information to know. But for Planet Terror, I said this earlier. I think it's Abby, unfortunately. He is the
He
creator
started
of
this.
his own demise.
He
and when his head blew up, that was pretty funny. He was like,
He-
follow me.
Boom.
Immediately his head blows up.
He should have just given Bruce Willis the balls.
At the end of the day.
Give us your balls.
I know. And then, I mean, Death Proof, it's pretty obvious who the dumb bitch is. It's
Zoe
Courtney.
for doing the ship's
No,
I
match.
do feel like Zoe deserves a nomination.
She
for doing
deserves
the
a nomination,
Ship's
but it's not
And,
in Mike
Kim
because he's a
tried
misogynist.
really, really hard to talk her out of it and could not do it. So,
Yeah.
like, nomination. For
Nomination
Sure.
for sure. Fair,
But
fair,
they
fair.
couldn't have anticipated that they were gonna be chased down by
A crazy
psycho.
person.
And also, her being in the car would not have made her that much. I mean, obviously, would have made her safer, but considering she didn't fall off the car, other
Right.
than at the end, and she survived that, like, being in the car wouldn't have made that much of a difference.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, I think it's still Stuntman
Yeah,
Mike.
no, it's
Yeah, it's
Stuntman
obviously
Mike.
Stuntman Mike.
He's a fucking psychopath, and I hate him.
Oh, he didn't even occur that like he could be a victim too, and like guess what? People can turn the tables, and like sometimes women have the same skill set as men. That's
Jokes on
crazy.
you, Stuntman Mike.
Underestimate us, never again.
Never
He won't have the opportunity because he's fucking
Dead.
Okay, that brings us to our knives out of fives. Are they? Oh, here's something I wanted to say really quickly because this is interesting, and so I wonder if it'll affect how you read the ratings. When this movie came out on digital or DVD or whatever the fuck it wasn't available as Grindhouse the way that we watched it with the trailers until 2010.
Oh.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was just it was separated as the two separate movies, and I don't know how the trailers shook out. I don't know if they were involved in it at all, and so I think that's
They
part of the
weren't,
reason.
Except for Machete was in Planet Terror, but that was the only one that made it into either cut.
Yeah, and so I think that like totally ruins everything that they were trying to do.
Yeah.
So it's super, super frustrating. And then also I was reading this article where they don't think it's become quite the cult classic that you would think maybe something this fucking hilarious and with this much lore would become because of that. Because like the people who might have
'Cause it's
been
so
interested
hard
right
to
away,
access it also.
you can't get that double feature experience.
Well, let's
as
bring it back.
easily.
And
No, we should.
I read something, and I don't remember where I read it, so God knows. But that said that it also was really slow to do any kind of like DVD release or VHS release and stuff like that too. Like
Yeah.
so it
You
just
couldn't
was hard to
access
watch it. Yeah, if you
until
wanted
2010.
to. Whereas
Anyway.
some things, I don't remember what it was, but we did something where it was like, oh, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, where it had like an abysmal theater run, but then because it was available on
Yeah.
VHS,
That's
it
happened
had
to
like
so many
explosion
movies.
of popularity. Yeah, and then because
Troll
you could
2,
be
that's
like-
how it became a
Yeah.
cult classic. Yeah.
Well, did that movie ever have a theatrical run?
I don't
Probably.
remember.
I feel like it was straight to VHS, wasn't it? Well, I don't know, and I didn't want to.
We show it in
I
theaters in
didn't
Alex
want
City all the
to,
time because,
file any.
Let's talk
information
about
away.
this movie. So what
Okay.
what did people think?
I didn't think to investigate on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes if there were like separate listings
There
for
are.
each film.
I'll pull them up. I'll pull them up.
I only have the listings for the double feature, but I can give you those numbers.
Okay.
On IMDb, it's a 7.5 out of 10 for the Grindhouse double feature.
That's pretty good.
And then on Rotten Tomatoes, it is 84% fresh from critics and 87% fresh from audiences.
Okay.
That's actually pretty good.
On IMDb, Planet Terror has a 7 out of 10. And then let's see what Death Proof has. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, it also has a 7 out of 10. Interesting. But I was reading somewhere. Did you say? Sorry, I was focusing on typing, so I didn't listen.
Wow.
Monica cancel.
Did you say? I can't do two things at once.
7.5.
Did they both have a 7.5? What about on Rotten Tomatoes? Are they separated there?
I'm going to look now, but the Rotten Tomatoes listing that I saw was for both.
Okay, look up the separate ones because I know they do have different ones because it was referenced in one of the articles I read, but I think that Planet Terror was liked more, maybe.
Planet Terror on Rotten Tomatoes has 77% fresh from critics and audiences. And then Death Proof has 67% fresh from critics and 72% fresh from audiences.
So people like Planet Terror a little bit more, which I can see if you're.
That's the basic taste.
Exactly.
It's
when
more
you
like
get into it.
straightforwardly
Yeah,
fun.
exactly.
Yeah.
But Death Proof's
But that's
more
how
of a
we
grower.
were feeling last night.
Exactly.
But
it's
now
more of a
we are
grower.
more mature.
24 hours. What a difference it makes.
It had to marinate.
I think that Death Proof, I really didn't expect to like it as much as I did, especially while we were watching it last night. But like I said, I think the structure of it lends so much strength to the story once you know what the full scope of the story is. That really just takes a little bit to pay off, really. And so it is like harder to actively enjoy as you're watching until you're getting to not just the final chase scene, but like the reversal of the final chase scene is when you really start to be like, I'm having fun.
Because it's just scary and painful before that.
Or like kind of boring for parts of it. Not boring per se, because again, there's good stuff in there that has payoff. But
it's hard to appreciate.
And there's not
Planet Terror too.
There's not much happening either.
Planet Terror every other minute is like the anesthesiologist has drama with her husband. Oh, Fergie's getting got. Oh, this barbecue place.
Literally,
blah, blah,
you just
blah.
said
like,
Fergie.
Oh,
like literally, like
Fergie.
it's insane. Like every crazy thing. There's a ball fetish. There's Bruce Willis.
There's
like
so much going on every single moment of Planet Terror, and then Death Proof is just more.
It's quieter.
It's
subdued.
It's slower,
Exactly.
but I mean, like we were saying earlier, I think the order is right.
Yeah.
I think the
literal jump
ending.
Yes, it's so good.
That is such a good last moment. The foot dropping down is such a good last moment. I think the ending of that hits way better than the ending of Planet Terror, which is like fun, but it's very like,
it's silly,
here's
silly
what
Billy.
happens after, just for closure for the characters. Like, that's not the exciting part of the movie. You know what I mean?
No.
The end of Death Proof is the exciting, fun part of the movie. It's so good. For me, overall, wow, I was really shocked by how much I liked both of these. I really didn't.
Finally, a Monica pick where people like it.
The only thing I knew was that it was Rose McGowan Machine Gun Leg. That was the only thing that
That's
I knew.
the only thing that I knew from it too.
And
It's a good thing to know.
Like I
Yeah,
said, I'd
it's
never
great.
seen a Quentin Tarantino movie before. I've seen lots of Robert Rodriguez movies, as it turns out, because I've seen Spy Kids, and also We Did the Faculty, etc. But I thought it was really fun. I loved the trailers. I loved that, sometimes there are movies where it's really clear that it's just a group of famous people who have the resources to make a movie with their friends and get it a wide release. And it's like, I'm sure that was so fun for you guys. I'm sure you had a blast. I don't know why I have to be part of this.
Yeah.
This movie, I think it takes, it kind of has like a high barrier to entry, maybe, if you want to fully appreciate it for what it is.
If you need to know. And
I don't really, though. I didn't need to know all this stuff. I'm really glad I do know. It made it even more fun. But I could obviously tell that they knew what they were trying to replicate.
Like,
you know
they
what I mean?
knew.
And they were
I
like,
didn't have to know.
Yeah.
It was clear that they knew what they were doing and that they were having fun and that they were referencing a whole bunch of stuff, including their own work. And I had fun watching. So for me, it's probably like a 4.7.
Awesome. That's great. Do you want to go next?
Are we doing like
maybe
overall?
we do overall and then each one? I don't know.
Like,
because I don't know how it'll be on a Letterboxd.
We'll see. I had a really good time.
Yeah.
Especially again, because we've been blessed to watch a lot of these in person, that makes it so much more fun instead of just like watching it by yourself. And that
gives you like the theater going experience, which is what they're trying to replicate here too.
Here's
so that made it more authentic.
I would love to go see this movie in a theater. Actually, like
we can be one of the 13 people.
Yes.
Especially because like
he can do it at the Vista.
Ooh.
He owns a theater now.
Quentin, let us host.
I'm a fan now, maybe.
But again, this is right up there. This is a 4.5 out of 5 from me.
Nice.
I had such a good time. And I didn't think, like, again, I knew vaguely about Planet Terror, but I had no idea what Death Proof was about at all.
Yeah.
And like last night, it was a little disappointing. But then just like thinking about it a little bit more and rewatching it again, you were like, oh no, that's really fun.
Yeah.
And I also love whenever they give radio people cool, sexy jobs.
Yeah. No, I love when there's a radio tie-in. That's
Put me on a billboard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I love this so much. I loved it even more this time than I did before, and I've been ranting and raving like a fucking crazy person for years trying to get us to do this. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just really glad that y'all liked it. That made me so excited, and I had so much fun watching it with you guys last night. I was like, hee afterwards. But like, yeah, it's just so cool that they went like so to reference the movie balls to the wall to like make this happen. They're like, we love this schlocky schlit. I'm so sorry. Schlocky shit. And we're going to go all the way to recreate this moment that you can't really ever have again. Like the fact they release this as a double feature, like nobody does stuff like this anymore.
You don't get to do fun stuff.
You
like
don't
this
get to
anymore.
do fun stuff like this anymore. Exactly. And
Probably because this movie
Yeah,
was
and
a flop.
because this movie flopped.
well, no, that's the interesting thing because I can't remember exactly what the article said, but one of them was referencing Sin City, which is also a like very stylized reference to like I haven't seen Sin City and I think I've only seen part of it and it was a million years ago, but it's like a noir, right? Yeah. So it's like a film noir, blah, 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 blah. Like, and that did really, really well. And it was very stylized as well. So they thought, oh, maybe that would work. And there's something that Quentin had done. Oh, it was Kill Bill. Kill Bill is very much like a martial arts exploitation kind of film, like one of those, like definitely hearkening back to even the same sort of era. But it's more like high echelon. That's not the word I'm trying to use. Highbrow, thank you. There's more highbrow types of genres that they were recreating, and I think because there's not like the like reverence for these schlocky like exploitation films, and they were just like grit, sex, the 3Gs, gore, grime, and genitalia. You know, they didn't have that like respect from the film bros in the same way to have them come out in spades for even Quentin Tarantino. That's shocking to me. But I really appreciated it. It's just pure fun. It's just pure fun.
It's pure fun backed up by so much like technical know-how
And
like
research
technical
and-
skill.
Yeah, and great performances. Even the silly Billy ones were really fun. Like they were perfect. They knew exactly what they were doing. The whole thing, their tongue was stuck fully into their cheek. You know what I
Right.
mean? Specifically for Planet Terror. I mean, like Death Proof is a little bit more of a self-serious sort of movie, but still, even that was
Even
like
then.
had its melodrama and whatever.
I mean, look at Rosario Dawson's bangs.
Yeah,
They weren't taking themselves seriously.
I liked
I liked the
them.
bangs.
They were
I
bad.
actually did like the
But
bangs.
I also like the baby bangs in Scream 3. So.
Exactly.
Bad.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so all that to say, I love this movie. I don't think it's perfect, but I love it so much. And I think that it's just, I'm so happy that it exists. So I'm going to give it a 4.85. How about that?
Ooh.
I won't go all the way to a 5, but I love it so much. And I will spend the 3 hours and 11 minutes again.
Yeah, it was worth the time.
It was really worth the time. And it's really fun, like with a group and you have snacks. We didn't even drink and we had a great time.
Right?
We didn't even take movie watching supplements and we had a
We
great
were
time.
teetotalers, just like
were
Kurt Russell, just like
teetotalers.
Stuntman Mike. But anyway, B-cember does continue next week. Who wants to introduce it?
This is Chi-Dog. Oh, God.
This one's me. It's a special little movie that none of us have seen or had heard of until we were researching. We wanted to, still do B-cember, but we wanted to do something for the holiday because this is our last film for the year. This is our last episode for the year.
We gave you this big, long one before.
Yeah, we gave you a double feature so that you would still get 4 movies for B-cember. But we need to take our own holiday break.
Yes, our sabbatical.
But
It's
before
only
we
2
do
weeks.
that, we need to celebrate. So we will be doing the 2005 horror comedy Santa's Sleigh. And it sounds like Santa's Sleigh, which I am so sure
Sleigh.
he will, and also
Sleigh.
Sleigh. But it is Santa's Sleigh. And again, none of us have seen it, but based on the trailer, based on the description,
looks
gosh,
like-
I'm curious.
It was
I think
fucking
Santa
insane.
is going to sashay away.
I can't wait.
I think Santa's played by a wrestler. Is
Yep.
that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
Goldberg. And nobody loves a holiday wrestler more than Monica.
Monica loves holiday
Why do you
wrestlers.
guys
Oh my
keep saying
gosh.
that?
Because you hadn't seen Mannheim Steamroller, famous wrestler.
Is that is that a name of a wrestler?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. I haven't known what you're talking about this whole time. You've joked all this like 5 times, and I've just been like, haha, moving on because I was focusing on my audio engineering career.
It's not. Let's leave the joke as is.
Monica loves the holiday wrestling.
She loves to watch Mannheim Steamroller suplex.
I saw Mannheim Steamroller, the band,
The
wrestler. led by Nebraska native Chris Evans. He's an incredible orchestra director, and it was amazing. He was putting the smack. If you like the synth and 80s and things that white people like, apparently.
He was in the ring.
Anyway,
putting that synth down.
Maybe there'll be some Mannheim Steamroller in Santa Slay.
They're better. His wrestling buddies in there.
Goldberg's nemesis.
Yeah.
Fucking goddamn it. We're moving on. It's time for the poll question. Shut up and tell me what the poll question should be.
It could be which one do you like better. I mean, that's easy and straightforward.
That's true.
Please tell us.
Which one do you like better? And then the write-in is why.
Or the write-in could be which of the trailers was your favorite.
Oh, yeah. Or just like say what about it inspires you the most, because I know you're inspired.
Please tell us about your favorite wrestler.
Who's your favorite Christmas wrestler?
I really don't understand what's going on. Listeners, I'm sorry if I sound really stupid right now for not getting it, but I really don't get what's going on. I'm just a girl who's not into wrestling yet. That's not true. I like Lucha Libre.
She went and saw Steamroller. She's into wrestling.
This episode is already 2.5 hours, so we need to move on.
No, we need 30 more minutes talking about favorite wrestler, Mannheim
Wow, it's almost Christmas. It's almost, wow, shut up. It's almost Christmas. Isn't that the perfect time to give us the gift of a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts? You can write in the 5-star review what they're talking about and explain it to me so I can understand. Explain it to me so I can understand. That would be really helpful. Or just 5 stars on Spotify would also be a nice little stocking stuffer. Also, why not follow us on social media? We're at spooky_Tuesday on pretty much everything, particularly YouTube. We're getting so close to 200 subscribers, so help us reach our goal.
Shout out to my Uber driver from earlier today. Hopefully you have followed us and found this.
Yeah.
Oh my
amazing.
God.
And then also we are on Facebook and Tumblr at Spooky Tuesday Pod. And, you know, I have to say, thank you for listening. No thank you to you two for not explaining to me what this fucking joke is. And I'll see you next Tuesday, but probably not you guys.
Oh, bye.
Cindy's gonna throw up. Oh my God.
Oh, you know I can't let you go without tapping that ass. Oh, fuck it. One.
Him?
More.
Kim?
Time! Booyah!
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamra Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamra, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.